All right, we're good. See you in a bit.
Okay.
Welcome to the Zoom Test Kitchen where the magic happens live. Every Friday we're on air, testing tech to thrive. From Screen Kitchen where the magic happens live. Every Friday we're on air, testing tech to thrive. From Screen Kitchen where the magic happens live. Every Friday.
Something didn't quite sound right.
Yeah, David had an echo from his end. Hello, everybody on YouTube. Welcome. We'll just wait for David's countdown to finish, and then we will be here. And as you can see, Pete and I are here. So we'll be starting momentarily. All right, there we go. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Zoom Test Kitchen. Yeah, I am currently your host right now. David will be joining us momentarily. He had to step away momentarily just before the show started, so we did have a countdown a little bit there. And unfortunately, David had something up on his end that caused an echo, so I had to quickly mute him. So, welcome everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are around the world watching us. As I said, my name is Mike Latta. I am currently the co-host, and David will be joining us momentarily. So we've got a couple of our regular panelists joining us, and I will start off with the one and only Mr. Peter Sargent. How are you doing this week, Pete?
Not doing too bad. It's 92 Fahrenheit and cloudy here in Yorktown, Texas. And I'm enjoying the inside air conditioning. What can I say?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, staying cool. Exactly. And my other partner from crime from the Canada land, and he's not at the race yet, and he's not going there probably. He's staying in Ottawa. Hello there, Frank. How are you doing there, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad. Not too bad.
What race?
What race? The Honda Indy Markham.
Oh, I wasn't aware.
You weren't aware. That is for all you Indy car fans out there. Indy car fans. Yes, I did that right. Yeah. So for all you IndyCar fans out there, absolutely. That's happening up here in not in Toronto. Again, Pete probably knows where Markham, Ontario is. So, and of course Frank does as well. But basically it's the burbs, as we would call it. It would be it's in the GTA of Toronto, but it's not actually where it normally is, which is usually in the downtown core. They've actually moved it out to Markham.
IBM Canada used to be headquartered in Markham.
Correct. And a lot of those big tech companies are still up there, Pete, as a matter of fact. So yes, they're enjoying a lot of the corporate boxes this weekend. Absolutely. And David currently, yes. So if everybody sees us as a quad box right now, that is because David right now is host and did step away. And unfortunately, when he enabled us on YouTube, we're in gallery mode. So that was the reasoning that we're here as a 4-box. All right. So we'll do this quickly right off the top. And I'm not sure what David had planned for us as of yet, but he will be joining us momentarily. So if you do have any questions for us in YouTube land, let us know in chat and we can start discussing those prior to David joining us when he gets a chance. So Frank, how was the week? Was it good? Run into anything exciting Zoom wise?
Busy week. I'm currently setting up Zoom workspaces. Zoom Spaces you know how Zoom Rooms came out, let's say many years ago?
Right.
And then people asked for a calendar scheduling system for Zoom Rooms. So they built that. And then people said, hey, what about rooms that aren't for Zoom? You already have half a product here. Can we use it for other things? So now they have Zoom Workspace Reservation, Zoom Rooms, and that's called Zoom Spaces. Both of those things together are Zoom Spaces. So I've been messing around setting up a reservation system in Zoom for people to use for non-Zoom related rooms that we book out.
Okay, so it is that actual space. So that space could be an either or. So let's say a Microsoft Teams and Zoom, or
it could be a room that's a phone booth. It could be anything. It could be a kiosk. It can be a lot of. You can use it for a lot of different things. But we have facilities where people can book the facilities. We have 12 facilities that we book out, and there's some automation and things you can do. So we're seeing if it meets our needs. But so I met with Zoom this week, and I'm meeting with Zoom again on Wednesday. The engineer is going to go through. I think I have it mostly set up, but there's some things I'm trying to figure out.
All right, very cool.
The big news
The big
is
news.
August. I don't know. Like I wasn't here for the last 2 weeks. Maybe you guys already talked about this. August 26th, the big change to the Zoom web portal. Have you guys discussed that?
The web experience. We
Yeah,
haven't talked too
yeah.
much about it, but Mr. Paskin is back and still has us in gallery mode on YouTube. I know. You're gonna unmute yourself and tell me I know.
I know. Tell me about the new web experience again.
So, hold on for a second. I have to hide my camera.
It goes live whether you like it or not.
Yeah, I actually had a conversation with Zoom saying that that's horrible timing for people in my industry a week before things kick off, and my sales rep told me we were like the ninth group of people in his region complaining about the timing of this. And I said, can you suppress it? And he said, it's not my decision to make, but it's being discussed internally at Zoom on the in their ecosystem. But he also said it's the fourth time they've suppressed it and they don't want to keep suppressing it. So I'm not too hopeful. You can go into your Zoom admin and make it available for people to try. I turned it on a while ago, and I've been trying to just use the new Zoom web experience to get used to it, because even the admin system is all the new web experience. So it's yeah.
It is quite different. Yes,
Ye-
I
ye-
go ahead,
Sorry.
Dave.
I'm not
No, I
sure
was
if it's
just-
as friendly or not either.
I was
It's
just
just
going to say
different.
though that the I'm just looking now at the just the new header, the universal header and simplified navigation. Now there's a My Account button. Thank God. Like
I know.
no one ever could figure out how to get to their account, and now at least there's a My Account button.
All the same functionality exists. It's just now you have,
Yeah.
like, it's not where I know it used to be. So now I have to look for it all the time. That's the slow
The
part.
muscle memory.
Yeah, and when you've got 30,000 users, and I am expecting a lot of support tickets.
Where did this go?
Yeah, I'm not excited about this at all.
Yeah, I believe it. I've actually implemented it as a Monday on my side, because again, everybody should have got their emails that had stuff to, because I had to do some conversions of stuff too. Frank, did you get that related to, which was related to groups? So permissions wise?
Yeah, I got that a while ago. I haven't
Okay.
done that yet. I did do you can do the migration, and then you can also do the migration simulation.
Yes.
So I did
Yeah.
the simulation to see if there'd be any conflicts, and there weren't any conflicts, but I didn't pull the trigger on it.
Good. Okay. Yeah.
Wow, they're like So here I'll pull this up. Sorry. So
Yeah,
bump it up at yeah. So I know it's small. I'm sorry, I can't make it much bigger. Because my other computer's working on something. So this is the old up at the top here, and then this is new down here. But like,
But that's
where'd
just one
everything-
example.
Where'd everything go? I mean,
Keep scrolling down. There's more examples.
this is it now. I mean, I like the look. It's definitely cleaner. But I don't know. I mean, wow. Yeah, we'll have to get used to it. What are you going to do? I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. Huh.
I mean, for casual users, they don't even know there's a web portal, half of them, but for anyone who uses Zoom a lot, it's something you have to adapt to.
Yeah, it's something I'll have to go hunt for certain settings to where did that setting go, right?
Exactly. And I'm very familiar with the current, not new web experience, like the traditional one. I can find stuff so quickly, and now I'm like, I don't know where anything is.
You have to wonder what prompted them to do it.
Yeah. They said to align with the Zoom application, to be the same look and feel,
Look, every time it's good. Like, it's always good in the long run when they update things, they make it more user friendly, but they don't always hit it out of the park, and there's a huge learning curve.
That's the thing for busy people who, like, Zoom is a big part of my job, but I mean, for some people, it's just a tool they use occasionally, and then to have to invest all this time,
Right.
It's annoying for people who are busy to have to, invest
Right.
all that time figuring it out again.
Exactly.
Robert was making comments going, cheat sheet time.
Well, I really think Zoom needs to create like a downloadable PDF or something with mapping, so that, like, it's sort of on that website, but it's not very comprehensive, I guess. Or
That's
they
a
need
fair-
to put some sort of wizard in the web portal, or a better search bar where you can just search for things instead of trying to find them.
Is there? Yeah, it doesn't look like there's a search.
Well, they're all about AI. Why don't they have an AI search tool that helps you find, like, just, this is
You
what
know
I'm
what?
trying to do. I'll take you to it.
Actually, there's a search in the old version,
Yeah,
meaning the current, and there's not one on the new version.
that seems like a big oversight if it isn't there or if
Well,
it
Yeah.
doesn't show up.
I will explain too that
Wow.
there are certain misses in that regards. I know one came up a couple of weeks ago during the Zoom developer office hours that we had. John and I are involved with Zoomies. Is that a customer came in and said, "I've been giving out this link on the Zoom developer FAQ or forum support site, and all of a sudden the page isn't there anymore." And I said, "Oh, did you try by turning off the new experience and see if it was there or not?" It was there.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Don't release something that's half cooked and force us to switch to it.
Yeah. But that was just given a brief, an example of he was trying to show one of his co-developers one of the sports stuff. He could see it, but the other person couldn't see it, and he went over to his desk. He's like, "Hey, yeah, you're not seeing it." And sure enough, it was just because of the fact that one had the new experience on and one didn't.
And the admin panel is the same, right? Like, now you have to, for admin, you have to do this. We're having a new admin experience as well, right?
Yeah, I did see a couple of different changes in there too when it came to adminning for us
Oh,
over
it
here.
is quite different. Like, the structure, all the stuff's still there, but it's not where it used to be. Anyways, whatever. Technology.
Technology.
What are you
Well,
testing, David?
I was fixing the Zoom plugin for Run My Show. I had a little bug in it that I had to fix. So I rebuilt the whole thing outside of ChatGPT, so it'd be a little more solid. So now it's on GitHub and it's hosted on Vercel. So
What's Vercel?
Vercel is a front end hosting platform for websites and apps and stuff like that. So
Interesting.
yeah, so that's that. We had last night on the rundown, we had John Wallace came in and he was testing his new Zoom OBS plugin. So he joined our meeting and he was able to grab all the feeds from us, feed them into OBS, and create a really nice sort of production experience,
Is
which
that
is
the one
cool.
that's for Windows?
Well,
I
OBS is for
No,
Windows.
I
You
know
can
OBS is for Windows, but I saw.
Well,
Uh,
OBS is also on Mac. It's not
yeah,
good
yeah,
on Mac, but
I
it's
know, I
yeah.
know. But I saw. I don't know if it's the same one. I saw someone who built something very similar to Zoom ISO for Windows users.
Yeah, there is. Yes,
Trying to
I
think
will.
if
I
that was
will
him
get
though.
the company. There's
Uh,
also our co-Zoom MVP, David. That not our David, but another David, and I'm not remembering his last name right now. That actually did build actually a Zoom the OBS plugin for Zoom plugin for OBS. There we
no,
go.
that's John Wallace. That's who I'm talking about.
No, there's
John
another.
is no. There's another.
There's,
John is the second person. David
Oh,
was the
really?
yeah. David from our Zoom MVP group is
Oh,
put it
I'm
out.
sorry.
Had it out
Gotcha.
for a few weeks now.
Gotcha. I'm looking for the link to John's. I'm not seeing it right now, but um, look, I'm not an OBS user, but if you are,
I've got the
and
link. I'll put it in the chat. This
all
is the
right,
OBS one. Here you go.
yes, that's him. Yeah, core video. Thank you.
Zoom won't give you individual participants on its output, so most setups end up as a window capture with crops stacked on top. This plugin subscribes to each participant's raw feed through the Zoom meeting SDK and hands them off to OBS as native sources.
And yes, this is only Windows.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Windows users now have at least a way to get ISOs if they don't want to use
Zoom
Zoom
rooms, right?
ISO. Yeah, Zoom ISO or whatever.
Uh, but ISO's only Mac now, I thought.
Yeah, yeah. But this gives
Yeah.
Windows users something
Right.
similar or comparable or
I mean,
Yep.
keep in mind, I mean, that's a fact that it's a Mac is because they focused on the original M series chips allow direct memory transfer
Right.
between the network and the video. Um, there's nothing to say, particularly on the new ARM Windows machines, they can't be doing the same thing. The streams are served up whether you're a Windows user or a Mac user. It's just that you had nothing that could access them on Windows for the longest time.
He also has this Core Video Pro, which is a whole multi-scene production, participant management, an AI auto director. That's cool. It's interesting. So the OBS plugin gives you Zoom control doc, Zoom engine client, and Zoom participant sources. That goes into Zoom OBS engine. And then the OBS outputs. Very cool. He's not charging for this yet, I don't think, is he?
and he was on your show?
No, he came into the show
Oh, into the show.
just to do some testing in the background.
Oh, we should try
Yeah.
to get him on as a featured guest or
Oh,
something.
yeah. I'm going to message him right now. A great idea. John Wallace. Love that.
Yeah, exciting. Especially for people who have to be on a Windows situation.
Hey there. Can you come into the kitchen one Friday? Talk
Or even
about
now.
because there's nothing else to talk about.
Over to you, David, about what the thumbnail was all about this week.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know.
It's AI. Just I give a prompt and I say, hey, listen, we're talking about Zoom and we use this kitchen thing. Do something. It does something.
And that wasn't Canva because you're not Canvaing.
No, I gave up on Canva. I actually didn't give up on Canva, but I've more. I don't know. I here. Where is? Oh, I don't even have it. Do I have it? No. Oh, here it is. Yeah. This was the one I did for today.
Nice.
Like, that's a pretty good. AI did a pretty good job there.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the one for next week.
Yeah.
I can't.
Whisking up.
You're not
better
screen
meeting.
sharing.
Yeah.
You gotta screen share that.
What?
Oh, there
No,
we
I
go.
can't. It's on a different
Whisking
computer.
up better meetings.
Whisking up better meetings.
Those are good.
He's even wearing the ZTK shirt.
I love it. Yeah, those are nice. How many fingers does he have?
Right.
Yeah, really.
Thank God we got over that. Boy, that was what a.
Oh, now, careful. There's still.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, the world. Yeah, we're getting lots of hearts and everybody's loving those, David. By the way,
Really?
from YouTube. When it comes, AI functionality in Canva sucks, says Robert
No.
Zebedati from.
Yeah, no,
Poland.
I don't use the AI in Canva ever. Which, in fairness to Canva, it's not fair of me to judge it because I don't use it ever. Maybe it's gotten much better. I don't know. I've never had good results with it. So, hey, Andy Lehman,
Hey, David Paskin, how's it going?
good. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good.
Pretty good. Pretty good. Oh. I will say, I have up until last week's show, actually, I was building everything in Lovable, all my web apps, stuff like that. I will, until something better comes along, I will always start in Lovable, but I will never continue to build there. I have discovered ChatGPT work and just telling it what to do and letting it take over and do it. Holy mackerel. It's outstanding. I realize I'm very late to the game because Codex was doing this a long time ago, but Codex always scared me because I always associate Codex with code. But you asked me for what I was doing, what was I tinkering around with? That was ChatGPT work fixing my Zoom app plugin, just doing it, and it fixed it. So
Cool.
incredibly powerful.
Very, very cool. First question of this show, and it's for an Andy.
An Andy?
Robert, Andy, our Andy that's currently here, Andy. Not to be confused with any other Andy that might be also
if you
an
say
Andy.
If you say the other Andy's name 3 times, he'll show up. So just keep saying it.
I know, I'm working on it. I did 2. I think I did 2 there. But this current Andy has been requested by Robert. Can Andy, and he wasn't being specific again, but I know he knows can Andy talk about his progress with the ZPS and Ecamm?
I think, yeah, it's in the Ecamm alpha currently. I did a demo a little while. David was in there. He's got access to the Ecamm alpha also, and it was working pretty good. I was overloading my machine at the time because I was trying to do a Zoom meeting and a webinar to try to demo it, and it overloaded my machine, but it was working pretty good. Like, you just slide the switch on and then everything comes in, similar to what I think that that we saw, I think, on last week's show, that Lord Zoom was demonstrating or talking about. But it's essentially just hijacks all of the audio and video, and so then everything coming from into the meeting is coming from your machine. So because Ecamm is using the SDK to grab the video and audio out, then all it does is just essentially mute everybody who is a participant in a panelist from their audio coming out to the viewers, and all the audio and video is sent in sync from your machine using Ecamm out to the webinar. And it works pretty good. I've not done it in production yet. I'm about to soon for a webinar that I'm helping produce. So we'll see how that goes. Cross your fingers, right? I mean, it's an alpha, so I'm a little bit leery to run Ecamm alpha on a production, but because it's alpha, not even beta. But I've had pretty good success with Ecamm and even in the betas.
Andy, I was as you were talking, I was thinking the question that I've had all along, which I know the answer to, is what technologically would it take, or what would it look like to allow that functionality, or even just production studio functionality, to work in a meeting rather than a webinar? And I know the answer to that. So now my new question is,
I don't know the answer. Don't go. Wait. What would it take?
Yeah, Dave, tell me.
Yeah, tell us.
My understanding is that it just wouldn't work because when everyone has cameras on and open mics, you can't. What Andy just described is that production studio hijacks the audio and video. You can't hijack. Maybe you could. The audio and video from one participant or 2 participants or 3 panelists, even just in a meeting.
Well, I mean, theoretically, let's just hypothetically say, like, a webinar is basically the panelists from a meeting, right? Like, the panelists in a webinar are the participants in a meeting. It's just
in a separate meeting, right?
But if you said, okay, artificially we'll limit it to 8 people or something, like you can only use this for 8 people, then what's the difference?
No, but if your audience,
and I think, David,
sorry, go ahead.
I think that's the difference, is because in a webinar you have your audience is, because even when using Zoom Production Studio, Switch, and Ecamm, the participants, or the panelists, are going to hear each other through, essentially, not backstage, because I'm using that term loosely, not with the Zoom webinar backstage, but like they're kind of backstage. They're hearing themselves from that, not from Ecamm. It's just a production that goes out to Ecamm, and they're hearing that, or not from Ecamm, but to the people who are watching. The
participants, right? But the reason that works is because your panelists are isolated. to a certain extent.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
so in a meeting, if everyone came into a meeting and I wanted to, this is what a lot of folks want to do. People, you have your audience in a meeting and you have your speakers in a meeting, and you want to offer to your audience a more produced look. So people think that they can grab the video from in that same meeting, bring it through Ecamm or through vMix or through OBS, whatever, and then pipe it right back into the same meeting. And we all know that the problem is at the end
Yeah.
you get sync issues. It
Sure.
doesn't work. So what I'm wondering is there a world in which production studio or the like would work in a meeting when your panelists are not isolated? And then I started to think, well, maybe that's not the right answer. Maybe the right answer is to create a stage,
So going to a webinar.
a
So
stage.
your webinar plus, yeah, exactly, which is
Yeah.
a stage, exactly.
Well, but no, but what Zoom does then is it doesn't have to drag in everyone's, it doesn't have to recreate everything. It can have 2 ups and 3 ups and 4 ups. Whenever you click the solo button, on let's say Frank is speaking and I want to solo him, all it does is it takes his feed that's in the meeting and it brings it into, so the audio is, nothing's leaving the meeting. Right, the stage, as it were, is just grabbing the stuff in real time and creating an extra feed that people are able to pin or you're able to spotlight.
Which is exactly what happens in Webinar Plus.
No, because in Webinar Plus, your audience is not in the same room.
So this is, I'm just going to semantics for a second, but if you had a meeting with 8 people, right? And you had a webinar with 8 people and no audience, like what do you call them? Attendees, no attendees. Aren't they pretty comparable? I don't mean right now
Yes,
technically,
no,
but I
they
mean
are. Yes.
semantically, they're pretty
Yes.
similar.
Exactly.
Like it's
They're
8 and 8.
Exactly the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only difference would be still if you, do this with a webinar with no participants in it, you would still end up having the audio issue synced or unsynced, because as the panelist, no matter what I do, it's still gonna, to them, they're gonna see their own audio feed and video feed. They're not gonna see the production like they would, because essentially what happens is when you do this, so in normal Webinar Plus, when you turn Production Studio on, another participant joins that's called Production Studio, which is everything coming out. When you're using this bring your own encoder, it actually like indents it under you. So it has me in there, and then it brings Production Studio, but it's like an indented user, like it's a nested user underneath me. So you'd still end up having the problems. So I don't foresee a way, technically, to do that, what you're trying to do, David.
Well, look, I'm very happy using Ecamm and the bring your own encoder. That's fine. But I'm wondering if at some point, I don't know if there's a need for it. Maybe there's no need for it. Maybe I might be the only person on the planet who thinks this would be cool. But it just seems to me that if you could take some of the features if you could really live switch the show. Well, forget it.
Yeah,
Frank,
essentially, I think what you're saying is, I can see it happening. If you could say, okay, like in Ecamm, when I turn a camera on, essentially remove them from the meeting, and so you're the only person that can see their video, and then you're switching their video. Like that would work. Where if you were able to do that, remove the person from the meeting, so they're not in the meeting at all, because you're grabbing their video and audio and shoving it back out to the meeting.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's reverse engine. That way of thinking about it is reverse engineering, right? You start in a meeting and it's kind of turning it into a webinar by removing the panelists and putting them into a separate sort of space.
Right.
That's interesting.
A breakout room, if you will.
Yeah, a breakout room. That's fascinating. I hadn't thought about that. Sorry, Frank. Go ahead.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
was just Googling it. Stupid question. I should know this, but I don't. I can't think of it right now. Can you have a Zoom webinar license without having a Zoom meeting license?
No.
No,
So-
you have
so-
to have.
So I've always thought this is more of a pricing issue than a technical issue to me. Like I think webinar's always been more of the expensive product. You have it's an add-on or an additional cost on top of meeting license. And it's more geared to, like, you're more likely to want a webinar license if you're a company or a corporation or someone serious. I've always wondered if the reason we can't have production studio in meetings is because it would destroy their pricing model where you have to have 2 licenses instead of 1 license.
Well, it's interesting
More
though, because
more
you
than
can,
it's a technical issue.
but you can run Webinar Plus webinars as a meeting, like,
Yeah,
but you
yeah,
just can't
yeah.
do Production
I
Studio in there.
I
So I
agree.
mean, I don't think that'd ruin their pricing because you still have to have the Webinar Plus to do
But
that.
regardless of production studio, just if you want to have a webinar, you have to have a meeting license too, right?
Mhm.
Like it's the
Yeah.
premium add-on
You,
product. I
you,
just
yeah, you have to have a minimum at least a pro account
right.
Mhm.
to
So
be able to have the webinar add-on.
right. So that to me has always been more of maybe that's the more compelling reason internally at Zoom is we don't want to destroy our pricing models. Why would we give you this advanced feature and forego revenue?
Yeah, oh
Right.
yeah.
I don't think you're wrong about that. I think that could be a piece of it also. I do think it's also technically a little challenging, but yeah.
I think everything's solvable if you put the effort and energy into it, but what's the motivation if it's going to lose the money?
Yeah, that's true. Yep.
All right. Tony does have an issue that he ran into this week. I'm not sure if Tony's going to join us or not. I did ask Tony to join because I think we're going to have more questions for him, but I'll start it as he has typed it. He says, yesterday, while I was recording the House of Worship, I was doing local recording, and he says, I lost power at my home, so I lost the recording. I am only a co-host. Is there to present? No other recorders available. And that's all I've gotten from Tony.
Did he say cloud or local? I didn't hear that part.
I was doing local recording. I
Okay,
lost
local.
power at my home.
If it was a cloud recording, I think he'd have more like,
Right.
and let's say there's a host and a co-host, it should survive the power interruption, right?
Yes. I've actually had that happen to me.
Okay. Do we need further information from Tony to help?
No, I
Well,
would just tell Tony
I,
record to the cloud.
well,
Ray
they're running on a
Harwood is
budget and they
here.
don't. Hello.
Hello.
They're running on a budget and they don't want the extra expense to have all of that cloud storage, and so I kind of get it. Lot of people like them running on a budget. The question I have is, how long was Tony out for? And did he come back and restart a local recording? Because those local recording files are still over in the Zoom recording area and should be processable. So at least everything up to the point where he exited should be available. Now that's going to be incomplete. And if he didn't hop back in and restart another local recording, those would have to be knit together, but that sort of thing.
Yeah,
And, if
I
he
do
was,
have a
if he,
follow up. Go ahead, Pete.
I was going to say, if he was out for half an hour, 45 minutes, all bets are off at that point, to be quite honest.
All right. So
Yeah.
so the answer to time is 4 minutes, and he does have a follow up. Said, would the recording stay intact even though I was out of the meeting? And I think you
Well,
sort of
you would not get the part of the recording that you were not in attendance with. That's the issue with local recording. You can only record what your machine is getting, and if your machine is off of Zoom, you're not getting anything.
right.
So, Ray, I guess I ran into this problem many times, and I guess the question I would ask is, you have to be maniacal about, if you do a cloud recording, to download it as soon as you can and put it wherever you want it, and then free up the space on your
Sure.
Zoom account. You have to be just maniacal about that. But
Yeah. So
correct.
basically, as Pete's saying, is that have the event or have the house of worship, let it record to the cloud, go in, download it after it's done, download it, erase it, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. every
Download
time.
it. And if you recall, he had I don't know if it was here or was another place, but there were a bunch of us who made the point, it was actually on after hours. We made a point to him that, it's perfectly okay to store unlisted stuff on YouTube. So
Right.
what we have told him in that venue was download it from the cloud, from Zoom's cloud, and then upload it immediately to YouTube as an unlisted video to your personal YouTube account. That gives you a place to keep it that's not polluting your hardware, because I know he is somewhat hardware constrained.
Right. So Tony does have a follow up. He says the problem I'm having is that the host is not in a rush of downloading the recording like I would be in terms of freeing up the space and then sharing the content with me. So I guess it's an intern. I guess.
Is there only one licensed account available, or is there two? Does Tony have a licensed account, or does only the host have a licensed account? I'm guessing only the host from a financial perspective.
Yeah, I will wait for the delay and I will get you your answer momentarily, Mr. Harwood. Good to see you, buddy.
Okay. Frank, you had your hand up. Did you
Oh,
want to chime in?
I like this. What I'm about to say doesn't necessarily apply just to Tony. It just for anyone who might be watching. When you're having a meeting, more than one person can locally record. So let's say, me and Ray are both in the same meeting, and Ray hits record locally. I hit record locally. My power goes out. At least there's a copy. Somebody's got a copy of the thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Which is, again, having a backup person, making sure they're recording too at the same time. Right. So Tony does say, if I use the cloud recording, the recording still goes to the host before I can access it. Is that correct?
Well, it depends on whether he has a licensed account or not. So if there are two licensed accounts, the host and Tony, the host can give Tony access to the recordings through an
Right.
admin sort of a thing. It's not very complicated, but give him access to it so that he can download them.
Yep.
He can also send him the link with the the passcode, and not share it to anybody else, which allows him to download from there. He can download it. The host doesn't have to do the download process.
Right. So he did answer that. He says, I'm using a license account and a free account, and the House of Worship has, I'm waiting for has what, Tony? I'm going to assume the license probably is what he's meaning.
And I guess I have to clarify what I said earlier as well. When I say both have to have licensed accounts, they have to be on the same machine in order for that to work. Not the same machine, the same organization.
Same account.
Yeah.
Though there is a way, if you really want to do it, there is a way, and it's legal, and I use it all the time with my clients. It's called external admin.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm just waiting for any follow-ups from Tony, and I'll get back to you guys. Continue.
I was just going to ask if we actually solved it or not.
Good
It's a
question.
saga. It's a saga.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Again, this is not the first time I know that we've gotten this question over the years too, David, related to local recording versus cloud recording versus knowing that you could actually throw it in the trash and it'll actually not count against your thing, and Zoom won't. We tell this to our Zoom community, but yet they're not supposed to know that, even though it is there. There's a whole bunch of stuff. And Tony comes back and says that the House of Worship has a license account. Okay, so there we go.
Yeah. So there is a way, if his account is not on the same organization, the House of Worship could give him external admin permission, which would allow him to basically do anything an admin on their account would be able to do. There's a trust relationship that goes there, and some of my clients go, "Oh yeah, sure, we'll make you an external admin," and some of them kind of go, no.
So the other
fine,
question
too.
I would have is he using a free account, or does he have also himself, independent organization differences, a paid account?
I think he implied that he also has a paid account of his own.
So correct if I'm wrong. If he has a paid account and he's signed in that way and he's made co-host, he could record to his own cloud storage.
No. The cloud storage will only go to the host's account.
Okay.
The meeting owner's account. In fact, if you have an alt host who's actually going to run the meeting, who then makes somebody else outside of your account a co-host, the cloud recording always goes into the account of the meeting owner, the session owner.
Okay.
Yeah, whoever set the meeting up, all of that saved stuff goes into their account.
But you can't. Oh yeah, that's right. So I was in the same organization. So Andy, to your question, so we'll drive it at Ray. Explain more about alt host.
Host drives me a little berserk. I'm
Not
just gonna
host,
say.
external admin. I think is what
External
you're
admin.
asking
So
for, Peter. Yeah.
Okay, I was going to ask, do you want the alt host thing? Because okay, and I've got this. There are 4 ways to share an account with somebody, and normally when I give that discussion, I don't list external admin as one of them because it's not the sort of thing that I think anybody and everybody should be doing. But what happens is if you have a client who trusts you, you basically have them go into their admin users roles, add a member, and there's a button there to say add an external person. You put in, my email address or whoever the other person that's going to be an external admin, put their email address in there. They get an email that says so-and-so has invited you to be an external admin for their account. Do you accept? Yes or no? And you click accept. The linkages all occur. And then you, as the external admin, go to your admin. I forget exactly where it is, but somewhere it says external access. And it lists all of the accounts. I've got like close to a dozen of them, all of the accounts that you have external access to. And you click the one that you want to become the current admin on temporarily. A little banner pops up at the top and says, you are now an admin on this account. And then you get to see what any admin would see on their account. Allows you to go in and look at the users, allows you to go look at the recordings, allows you to go in and change settings, and a variety of those sorts of things. And that can be date limited. You can say, I only want him to be able to do this between now and next Friday, or you can make it, broader access. I'll tell you, I had a client that made me an external admin early in the game, and it saved her bacon because she was going to run some special event 2 years ago and ended up in the hospital and not able to basically join or do anything because she was having, some severe surgery at the time. People contacted me and said, Ray, what do we do? And I said, well, let me think. I think I have her external account access because she'd already sent out emails with join links and all that sort of stuff. I could have set up a new event, but then I didn't have access to her registration system. So basically I just went in as external admin and I was able to start their session and basically help host it at that point.
Did that make sense, Peter? As I have an update from Tony. So cool. All right. So Tony said, the House of Worship added me on and changed the status independent, even though we are paying the fees for 2 license accounts. But it didn't work.
I'm not sure which part didn't work, but the fact that you are both on the same organizational account doesn't mean that when you do a local recording, they have access to it or vice versa. Only the person who made the recording has access to the local recording because it's on your machine. But if one person is an admin and you are not the admin, you would not have not have direct access to the recordings that he made to the cloud. But there is an admin. You could put the second account in and let them have access to the cloud account, to the cloud storage, and then be able to download directly from there.
Go ahead, Frank.
If you have two licensed users in the same organization, regardless if they're admin or not, you can use scheduling privilege, and in scheduling privilege, you can share the recordings. You can grant permissions as part of scheduling privilege, so that other people, so the two people on the account, Tony could get access to recordings he didn't even start.
Very, very cool. And Robert is actually in chat actually mentioning as well that he uses Zapier's Zoom integration because it includes the new cloud recording trigger that's built in.
There's a lot of Zoom Marketplace apps that, like Dropbox and a whole bunch of other ones, that will download your Zoom Cloud recording to another storage place, but it won't do it retroactively. It only starts from the day you turn it on. So if you've got 50 recordings that you didn't set this up for, those you'll have to deal with manually.
Right. Right. Hasmuth, are you going to come and say hi to everybody?
Or call
Or-
sorry, my camera's off for a second. Or call Justin, is it Justin James, who will build you a way to export all those old files. He I don't know if he built it or if he just found it, but he helped me with a tool to retroactively download all that stuff, which was awesome. Amazing.
The thing about your Zoom Cloud storage is, let's say you have a very limited amount of cloud storage, so you somehow download your recording and you delete the recording after you've downloaded it to reclaim some space. It still sits in the trash for quite a while, so you have to purge your trash too, and then you have to wait a while before Zoom updates your storage amount again.
Yeah. And
I don't think
here's
the recordings in trash count against your storage, though.
No,
They're not supposed to.
not supposed to.
I thought they did. Okay.
No, they don't.
Yeah. That's sort of the sneaky, if you need to make space quickly for a meeting and you didn't download it yet, you can throw it over to trash during the meeting, and then especially if you're getting close to and Andy's going, yep, shh, I've done that before. Yep, Mike, shh, don't get.
Was it
don't
always
tell
that
me."
way? Because I seem to recall a lot of community forum posts complaining that they trashed their recordings and still didn't see the space recover.
I can't vouch.
I
'cause-
have because I have mine set to auto delete after 30 days, anyways, just to kind of keep things free. Because usually I go in and download them, so I know that once those 30 days expire and it goes into trash, I still have another 30 days before it empties from trash. So I could, when I go in and they're in the trash, it shows me as 0% if there's nothing in my recordings.
I have an integration for my, not my personal account, but my organization, that takes every cloud recording and moves it to a different platform.
Yeah, and actually Tony has an update, and this might be going on to what Ray was talking about too. Even though the account was a paid account for me as a user and the house of worship, I was never able to start or initiate a meeting, I mean.
Hmm.
Does that make sense to everybody?
So yeah, so
Okay.
there are, settings, global settings, that whoever the administrator of their account should probably review and make sure what role Tony was given with his license and that sort of thing as well, right?
Yeah, because
What
it sounds
permissions
like
what permissions are enabled or not enabled.
yeah, it sounds like the admin might be actually restricting him, or it's still at some sort of
Or
default.
didn't, like, I'm not trying to be rude, but from some of the things Tony said, it doesn't sound like they're too technically proficient. He's probably the most proficient person, so maybe they just didn't configure some things they should have, or whatever.
Or didn't realize that there was even those configurations, as many do when it comes to not knowing about the admin section a lot. Yeah. Let me see what else Tony said. Coming in Coming in about 15 minutes. Okay. All right. I think Tony's going to be joining us to tell us more about the situation. Thanks, Tony. I think that's what that means. And Robert has a question for Andy again. Am I said Andy enough? Am I supposed to have a C at the end? Okay, I'll say a C. Andy C at the end. Okay, there we go. Andy, do you have a fallback if Ecamm stops working? Oh, there we go. For the alpha, should the alpha break, what is Andy going to do?
Yes, I would. In that case, I would just probably go to switch on onto Production Studio. So I've set my scenes up in similar scenes that I've got in Ecamm up in Production Studio, that I could switch Production Studio on and use that.
Yeah, yeah. And he says, can you return to the default ZFS? Yeah. During
you can.
That's okay.
You can turn the. Well, are you saying going back to my other Ecamm, or
so basically you're starting with Ecamm, and all of a sudden you're a few minutes into the show event, whatever you want to call it, and all of a sudden Ecamm dies. Can you go back to Production Studio?
Production Studio. Yeah, you can turn Production Studio on. I found it a little buggy if you try to go back into the Ecamm version of it. I think you have to. I don't remember if you have to leave the meeting and come back or something. There's some trick in there that to get back into using the bring your own encoder for some reason. But you can go and turn on Production Studio and use Production Studio, normal Production Studio.
Right. So yeah, I haven't played with this yet because again, John and I have been just doing regular Production Studio during the week for both shows. So it's been, and I know John has actually figured out from the developer end the same hooks that you guys that Ecamm is using now to do that functionality into Zoom Production Studio. So we do know how to do that as well, but we haven't actually tested to see what it actually starts to disable. If I'm still doing, if what actually is disabled, what is enabled still at that particular point once you're in Production Studio. Mr. Ray, go for it.
Kind of related, mostly because I don't do a lot of live streaming. But if the host who has initiated the live streaming loses their internet connection and someone else is co-host, does the live streaming feed continue to live based on the fact that there's at least somebody there, or does there have to be a co-host there to sort of accept the responsibility of it and have it transferred to them? Does the live stream die or does it continue?
David, I'm going to refer to you on that one because all my live streaming I'm doing through Ecamm. I'm not doing through Zoom.
No, so, I don't do anything through Zoom either, really, except for this
meeting.
For this meeting, right? I mean, when I know that when I pass host to
me,
right,
me.
To Mike, that it I think it keeps going.
Yeah, it moves to me, and then I can stop if David used YouTube or it comes across. Right now we're using the custom RTMP. It's right now at the top for me as custom RTMP. I cannot stop it right now as co-host, but once I am host, I have control to stop it. Not to restart again, of course, but to stop.
I think we've had David, say, I'm going to sign out and come back. And
but when I do that, I always
assigns
pass
it
host.
to you. That's one thing, right?
Yeah.
It's one thing. But if he were to have an internet glitch and be gone for a couple of minutes, I think we've had that a time or two as well, somewhere along the way.
Unplug your internet right now and see what happens.
I'm here, everybody. I'm still here.
It is the test kitchen. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
So whoever it picks as the surviving co-host to become host, if there's multiple co-hosts, they get command, and then when you rejoin as the owner of the session, you can reclaim host.
Right. Yeah. But what David does, just to make sure that nothing totally happens to everything, if David has to reboot or I have to reboot, and we will actually hand off host to each other.
Yeah.
To make sure that.
I mean, obviously, if you can
not have Zoom guess who's host.
Right,
who's host now? Is it Mike? Is it Dave? Who knows? How about now? How about now? But no, so to go a little further with your situation, Ray, is that again, don't forget Zoom is actually doing the live stream from the cloud to YouTube's cloud in our current situation. So if it was in Andy's situation and he lost it because he's from Ecamm, it would die unless he had a backup stream also going to YouTube as well from a different location, different internet, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, or in the cloud. But again, if Andy at his location is mixing Ecamm and he's also sending that RTMP out to YouTube from Ecamm, then yes, it would die unless he had a backup system in place to kick in for that primary going down. But in Zoom situation, if you're live streaming from Zoom, it's Zoom's cloud to YouTube's cloud.
But to the conversation that Andy was talking about earlier about, well, if Ecamm died, I just fire up Production Studio.
Oh,
Production
no.
Studio wouldn't be connected to your output.
Right. No.
Yeah,
What ends up? Okay, go ahead.
No, so I think in that case, because I would almost have to have, because if Ecamm dies and I'm doing it through that,
Right.
I'm joining the meeting through Ecamm, so the meeting would die with me. If I would almost have to have plain vanilla Zoom open also as a second person in the meeting, and then I could turn Production Studio on.
But if you
And
had
switch in
another,
production.
if you had a co-host who was also Production Studio savvy, they could not continue your stream because the stream is actually an Ecamm stream, not a Zoom stream, correct?
Right, but all of my speakers and panelists would be in Zoom, and so they could just open up Production Studio and bring them into the boxes and start their own production of it outside of Ecamm.
Yeah. So
But
think of
what,
it this way. It would,
my question then again, because I don't totally understand your setup. Are you live streaming at that point, or are you just sort of streaming it to the cloud to keep it?
I'm just doing a Zoom. I'm doing a webinar, a production. So
Okay.
I have panelists in there, and I'm producing the production. So for me, it's going out to Zoom. It's not going into
okay.
live stream at all.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was thinking live stream. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So in the situation that John and I have had, we've run into two scenarios that you run into, right? So all of a sudden, let's say I've lost internet or John lost internet, and I was, again, majority of the time I'm doing Production Studio. But let's say I all of a sudden lost internet for whatever reason. John so whatever is up in Production Studio would stay, as you know. We already know that part. So whatever was in program last was there until I came back and re-enabled myself Production Studio wise. But should I not come back for a good time, or maybe not be able to come back at all during the actual live show, John could actually, because he's host or co-host, go into Production Studio and start taking over Production Studio from me, even though I'm not there anymore, and continue on mixing. So
well,
in
and
Andy's
it's the
situation,
reason I have to point over the right shoulder. It's the reason I have this other computer back here, because normally I will log in also and make that a co-host, so that if the machine in front of me were to die, I could at least go over there. And I have done that before, primarily in testing, but only one time live did I actually kind of have to go over there and recover.
Yeah, and it is a situation. But again, you have to just make sure that everybody that is in that has some savviness to Production Studio would have to then go up and actually go up to the buttons and actually turn on Production Studio and then go in.
I mean, you couldn't take someone right off the street and say, I'm going to make you a co-host.
No, Production Studio is not that easy, not that quickly. No, but again, what I am curious about though, Andy, and I want to go one step further with you on this because I am a Production Studio guy at least twice a week live. So when Ecamm comes in, what would I see could I, let me do it this way. If you're coming in as Ecamm and you're controlling Production Studio, then all of a sudden I'm co-host and I want to take over Production Studio from you, could I? That currently still, that can happen.
I don't know. I don't know if I would have to flip the switch, because in Ecamm, what happens in the Zoom window or in the Zoom bar that Ecamm has to join the meeting and things, there's a little just a toggle switch, and I can toggle that on or off. And so I don't know if I would have to turn that off, and then you would have to take over. I don't know. I've never tried that.
Right. Because what ends up
The-
happening is if both.
Mike,
Yeah.
can I ask a
Yes,
question?
Dave. Yeah.
In regular production studio,
Mhm.
co-host can take over control from a host.
Yes,
Yes.
but it prompts the host that the person's going to do it. Do you want it? Yes or no? So that's why I'm asking is if, let's say Andy did have a situation with Ecamm and he came in and he did have a co-host person or even another machine like Ray does beside you logged in as co-host, could you then kick in Production Studio regular on your second machine and then start doing Production Studio in the cloud versus Ecamm?
I think it would work. I think. I mean, we'd have to test it out and try it.
Right.
But I think it would
that,
work.
But that would be, in theory, that would be a backup for you just to have, have your Ecamm machine doing Ecamm things
Hey,
and then have a second machine so that it's in co-host already. And then you'll be able to just go into Production Studio in it. And you could actually pull up Production Studio. Just don't take anything to program.
well, no, so
far
you
as I know.
can't. So, but my understanding, Andy, is that the implementation of this is that as soon as Production Studio opens, Ecamm gets kicked off.
I think that's true. I would need to test it out, but I think that you'd almost have to wait until I left the meeting and just kind of
Right.
emergency take over.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think you'd have to do that.
Okay. Because
It wouldn't be seamless. Yeah, it wouldn't be
Well,
seamless.
it really is sort of the same interaction that occurs with just two regular, hosts and co-host. That if I, except that you don't really have a way to either authorize it or not authorize it. If somebody were to jump in and grab it, if there was no authorization possible, would it just take it? And then the farther question in my head a little bit, down in the weeds, is the fact that you have the little switch turned on to take over Production Studio turned on. Does it stay turned on and does it continue to try to grab it back? Or does it allow the person who's trying to rescue you for some reason, or maybe
You're
not
giving me
rescue
things
you?
to test this week or
Yeah,
next
yeah,
week.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Robert
And these are the sorts of things that you don't have to know until you have to know them. And then it's too late.
That's right. Absolutely, Ray. 100%. Yeah. So again, and the other thing too that currently I put in as a bug issue too is that should somebody that's in program in Production Studio, this is not related to Ecamm, but somebody that is in production that is in program, and here comes Tony, and I'll let Tony in, and I'll concentrate on that. And now I'll say what I'll say. So in the situation where I've had somebody in program and they have left, or all of a sudden they were full screen and they left, or their connection died, Production Studio will crash. It will not go into preview. It will not send the preview into program next. It will just crash, and I have to go back and actually go live again, and it'll reestablish Production Studio again. So I do know that is still a bug out there.
Oh, interesting.
Josh did that to me, as a matter of fact, right?
Oh, yeah.
Where Josh would say, "Yeah, thanks guys for being on the show. I'll talk to you guys next time." Click, and I was still programming. It's like, and I was like, "Oh,
Is
That's
it
what that
if
does.
he's in program or only if he's the only one in program?
if he's the
It
only one in
should
program."
survive. Yeah, I was gonna say it should survive one of many dropping out. It should survive one of one dropping out. You're correct, but
Yeah. So he was
it
full
certainly
screen.
shouldn't shoot itself in the foot.
Yeah, he was full screen, or he was in a template where he was the only video in the template.
Yeah, yeah, cool.
Scene. Sorry, I keep doing that. Scene, not template.
Yeah.
Scene.
I know what you're thinking.
I know. I keep doing that to John too. It's like template is all of them. Scene is each one. Okay. Yeah. Right. Got it. Cool.
And just for another terminology, as long as you're there, template is all of them outside of your current session that are available to be imported into other sessions. A scene, and I refer to that little film strip with all of your scenes as a scene set. Now, I don't think I've seen that, SEEN. I don't think I've seen that in Zoom terminology, but that scene set to me is what scenes do you have set up in your current session?
Right. Right. Exactly. And Robert was asking that question too, Andy. So definitely, if you could put in Discord, I think everybody would be intrigued on your
Yeah,
answer to.
I
Absolutely.
will test that out this week or this next week.
Nice.
Tony, are you ready to explain yourself, sir? Running into the studio so he can get the proper answers from us.
Greetings, everyone.
There he is.
Hey, Tony.
First, I want to apologize because I was trying to voice to text in the chat and it was not very clear. And so I want to apologize for that. Let me just quickly say what happened yesterday. So throughout the day, the power was going on and off, was storming pretty bad here. And I am the only one that does the recording. I'm actually doing 2 recordings. I'm doing the lesson or the sermon, and I'm doing a full recording. I am only a co-host. I'm always given permission. Last year, we added one of my free accounts to the House of Worship account, made it a paid account. And so the House of Worship account and my free account became actual paid accounts. But based on the conversation that I've heard, I was never made an administrator. So we went 4 months last year paying for the additional license, but I was still no more than a co-host. So that was something that was made clear based on the conversation that we've already had today. So thank you for that. I guess what I was really trying to figure out is if I'm not able to get a additional person at a different location to do a recording, is there a way that I can do a cloud recording so that, or would, if I did a cloud recording, if I just independently just switched the House of Worship account to my account, made it my account, and did the cloud recording, if I lost power, would the cloud recording die?
As long as there's somebody still in the meeting that would either become a co-host or is already a co-host. Obviously, if nobody's joined the meeting, the cloud recording will die. But if there's another person there, your cloud recording should continue until the meeting is over.
Even though I lost power?
Even though you lost power, yes.
Okay.
The cloud recording is being made by Zoom and what Zoom is feeding to everybody else. And so as long as Zoom has connectivity to somebody, let's say for a moment that they lost power at the House of Worship and you're the only one on it. Well, the cloud recording is going to continue. And as you're, trying to work through the issues, that recording will survive. And if they were to come back, it will pick them up right there in sequence. And hopefully that doesn't occur, but it should survive as long as there's somebody in the meeting who basically ends up becoming the co-host and owning that. And
Okay.
you don't even have to be the main owner of the meeting. If cloud recording is enabled and set up properly, and you are a co-host, you can start the cloud recording when you want to. It still goes to the host's account when you start it. I don't know if you were here when we had the very first conversation, that regardless of who starts the meeting, who is currently co-host or host, a cloud recording always goes into the account of the meeting originator, whoever scheduled it. And so, as Peter and I think, talked a little earlier, there's a couple of things that we can do to help you along. One of those is called scheduling privilege, so that you can schedule meetings without having to go into the other account. There's a few things, and they're not highly technical, but they do take a little bit of, um, foreknowledge to set up. But then once they're set up, they're easy to use.
Okay. I'm laughing at myself because I'm trying to navigate multiple things at the same time. Um, I have been trying to convince the House of Worship to look at moving from the meeting to webinar in the event that, am I low, Mike? Am I speaking low?
No. I was hoping you would go one more and say the word plus, but continue.
So their argument for not wanting to go to Webinar Plus is that they like the grid and seeing everybody during the worship service if the primary speaker is not speaking. They like to see everybody. And what I said was that even with webinar, we can bring everybody in. It's just that everybody wouldn't automatically be in unless they raise their hand.
Right.
But they don't like that. They want everybody to be able to be seen. So it has caused a lot of problems in that sometimes there are people who come in and we are not sure who they are. They don't have the cameras on. And there is all kinds of noises and doors slamming and TVs going and all kinds of stuff. And so then instead of focusing on the worship service, we are policing the Zoom.
Tony, there is an option in the host settings. I forget the exact term, to basically disable other people's ability to unmute themselves. And so you could, leave unmuted those people who, have a computer, are supposed to be able to talk, and then, go down the participant list and look at everybody that has their microphone on. And I love the new interface in the participant list now. You don't have to click and mute them. You just click on the little microphone button. You just click on the white microphone buttons until they turn red, and then they're muted. And if that switch is turned on, they cannot unmute themselves. And I don't have to do that very often, but I have to do that in some meetings.
So let me make you all laugh. So the reason why I'm going to make all of you laugh is that I am not permitted to upgrade my Zooms because of conversation with Tony Mobley. So I use the older Zooms that work. if that makes sense.
You use an old Zoom version of Workplace. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Ooh.
I'm not up to date. And the computer that I'm on right now, how you're seeing me right now, I get the banners all the time that say must upgrade, must update, must. But
Is this a Mickey banning you from upgrading?
yeah. Yeah, it is.
At some point, you're going to have to upgrade. Once you're 9 months behind the current version, you won't be able to join any Zoom meetings. That's called the Zoom Lifecycle Quarterly Policy or whatever it's called.
Okay.
How are you going to
Well,
break that news to Mickey?
I don't know.
Mickey should know. Mickey should know that.
And truth be told, I did not see the banner yesterday, and I did not see the banner today. So it may have been updated.
Can you check your current version?
Let's see. I am on 6.6.10.
Well, that's not so far behind.
David, does that warrant a novice? Is that warrant that? Or
I was looking at your face, wondering what the response was going to be.
What is the current version?
7.1.5.
I'm going to say that it wasn't, that this is an update compared to what I actually had, because wait a minute, it's still there.
So
Update is required. This app is updated. Please update your Zoom workplace to the latest version. Update now.
I'm going to throw a screen share up.
Go ahead, Frank.
Is it?
Here's the Zoom Software Quarterly Life Cycle Policy. That's a mouthful. And it has a table that shows you when they're going to do the enforcements and what version you have to be on. So by August 1st, which is 13 days ago, the minimum version on is 5.17.5
For Windows.
for Windows, yeah, and also for Mac.
6.0.2 for Mac.
Yeah, but the next enforcement date is November 7th, and it looks like it's staying the same. They're not forcing anyone. So, and then the next one after that's in February, and they haven't said what it's going to be. So it sounds like they're leaving it here for a while, which is unusual.
Well, if you get on there's the fast track of updates and there's a slow track of updates. Fast track basically goes very, very quickly. When a new one comes out, you basically get on it. The slow track updates always will keep you within 6 months, but I know that this, they're always looking at what are the compatibility issues between these versions of what we have out now. And the fact that you can run these versions doesn't mean that you have access to all of the bells and whistles that have come out. So some of those things will, if we've all seen the little V with a circle around it that says, hover here, and you have to go, oh, if you don't have version 6.3.4, this doesn't work.
Yeah. And I can vouch, Tony, that you will not be able to run Production Studio with that version. You'll need at least version 7, if not almost the latest version of it.
I don't know if any of you guys do this. Where I work, I enforce a minimum version. I'm going to do it at the end of August, and everyone in my organization will have to upgrade, and if they don't, they won't be able to join a Zoom meeting.
Yeah, I've at my end, I've actually enforced them to the just version 7. I've got everybody out of version 6 at this point. I've put everybody on version 7 as a minimum.
I do that in my organization too, but I'm the only one here.
Yeah.
I had a feeling it was going there. Go ahead, Pete.
I was gonna say
Had
I
to
do the
go.
same thing as Ray.
Yeah.
Good policy, guys. Good policies. That's good policies.
All
Excellent.
two of my accounts. All two of my accounts.
So Ray was talking about, when you look at the support documentation for Zoom and it says feature X, whatever, and it has the little V, it says it only works with this version. So I've got people trying to teach courses, and imagine if we didn't have people on the same thing. So a person designs their course around some kind of survey or poll or some other Zoom feature, and then all the students are just using whatever they feel like. Half the things the instructor would try to use wouldn't work. So I enforce a minimum version so that all the tools will work for everybody in every meeting.
And it's interesting too. I think you guys know Betsy Sabatini pretty well. She's had some communication with us in the can't remember if it was the Zoom MVP channel or the Zoom community channel, but she does training on admin for small organizations and that sort of thing. And she saw the pop-up that said, you're going to have to go to the new admin screen on whatever date in August there was. And she says, well, I'm right in the middle of a class during that time. Can I please get, and the answer of course was, no, you can't be deferred. Why don't you change before that, because everyone's going to have to go. The other thing is that everyone's going to have to go is also by tier, depending on what your source of your account came from. I think there are a couple of different dates in there, but yeah, the early one here in August is going to
August
kick a bunch of
26th.
people in the butt. Yeah.
So
You can-
Ray, let me go ahead, Frank. Sorry.
I was just going to say, you can turn on a toggle in your Zoom admin, which allows your users to toggle back and forth right now if they want to try it and use it and practice,
Yeah.
and then go back to the old one. But after the 26th, that toggle will disappear and you'll be stuck on the new one.
Yeah. I've been doing that. The good news is it's not unusual for me to hit a toggle and go, oh, I hate that, and then go back, and then go, oh, look, I saw a thing. They're doing a demo, and it doesn't look too bad, and I'll click it, and I'll kind of go back in and go, that part's not so bad, but this part I hate. And then eventually, I come up to speed enough that really seriously in the last 2 weeks, I've been using the new admin, and I've sort of got my my bearings about where things are, and go from there. The hard part is that there's still some documentation that hasn't been updated to say, oh, if you want to change this, go here, here, and here. It still uses the old here as opposed to the new here. Yeah.
I was talking about that earlier, Ray, when I was saying that in the Zoom developer side of the docs too, there was a developer that was actually sending them to a link, but it was working for them on the old experience, not on the new experience. New experience would come up with a forward for not found page. It was like, don't. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, like all of the posts in the community forum back when we were with Koros, when they got moved over to Gainsight, they replicated all of those forwarding addresses. And the same thing has happened to the support pages for the most part. There was a different support page thing that, I don't know, it had the KB number, but then after it also had the title in it, which I thought was very interesting. You could look at a URL and know which one you were going to get when you clicked it. But yeah, to basically abandon a link that's supposed to work for people and not have a forwarding, yeah, that's not good.
Not good. Yeah, very true. What was I going to say? Ray, have you run into a lot of people talking about the different experience now with the new interface? Anything on the forums?
Um, Not really. I mean, I've seen a few people kind of voice the same sort of complaint that Betsy Sabatini had as well. I want to use this one up until this date, but it's past the other date because I'm doing some training. Well, I mean, it's, one of the things I learned back in my early Air Force career, don't ask the question if you can't stand the answer. And in this case, the answer is no. So yeah.
Mr.
Bite the
Paskin, you've been
bullet,
awful quiet
make the
back there, sir.
change.
Oh, Hasmic just came back in.
He did.
Andy, are you testing something?
He's got a smile on his face.
Is he guilty? Oh, he's very guilty. Oh,
Yep.
how guilty is he?
There we go.
Let me
Playing
spotlight
around.
how guilty he is.
Just playing around. So
And that would be your alphaing.
Maybe. He's not allowed
Maybe.
to say.
Oh,
I mean, maybe.
I mean,
Could
and then
be.
maybe.
It could be on the alpha. It could be on the beta.
Oh. Is there a delta? Mr. Tony, by all means.
I'm just curious. The primary computer that I do the recording for the House of Worship has a Zoom free account. But the computer that I use for the sermon only is my paid account. Should I switch them, or it doesn't make a difference?
The basic answer is it doesn't make a difference, Tony. The length of the meeting all depends on who actually scheduled the meeting. And then once anybody, whether they've got a license or not, joins the meeting, they're just attendees, and Zoom doesn't really care what type of license you have once you've joined the meeting. So if it's working for you now, I'd say don't change it.
The relevant thing is that whoever is the host of the meeting, who scheduled the meeting, all the meeting controls and privileges are tied to their license. So if they're a paid license, then everyone in the meeting gets the benefit of that. If it's a free license, then there's going to be limitations for everybody.
And the other implication of that is if you are going to use a cloud recording, that host's cloud recording settings will determine which of those various files that you get. Do you get speaker? Do you get the gallery view? Do you get the slide share view? And the reason you need to be careful with that is if you're not paying for any extra storage, you can generate a whole lot of video in a matter of an hour or more, depending on how long your sermon's going to go. So sometimes he keeps people into lunch. Yeah. And so the good
dinner.
news is that I don't think my experience doesn't really cover this, but I've heard people say that if you go over while you're in the middle of a recording, it's not going to cut you off, but it will kind of go, oh, look, you're over limit. You need to trim it. And if you download it and then free up the space, you'd be fine. Sort of thing that we have to help you set up a little process to be kind of rigorous about that so you don't get charged extra. The other thing is with 2 accounts, you should get double the amount of storage. The amount of storage is not tied to the account, to the individual user. It's tied to the global account. So if it's a pro account and you get 5 gigabytes and the other account gets 5 gigabytes, there's 10 gigabytes of storage available. And so, you should have plenty. If you've got a business account, I think it's 20 gigabytes a piece, or 10 gigabytes a piece, 20 total if you have 2 accounts.
Right.
So if you were me, would you make an argument for two license meetings, or keeping things as they are but upgrade the account to Webinar Plus?
Webinar Plus is going to cost you more money, Tony. And also, well, if you want to use Production Studio, and I don't know whether that's in your, horizon or not, but if you want to use,
No,
yeah,
it's not.
So
It is-
that to me is the only real advantage for you, for Webinar Plus, is the use of Production Studio, and maybe if you were going to do a webinar which your people aren't really interested in, you could use a Backstage. So really, I think if you have a meeting, and that's the way everybody likes it, and you probably don't have the maximum number of people, which would be 100 people. I don't know what your Zoom attendance rate is, but it's probably less than that. I would leave it to licensed accounts with meetings, and I would help you set up the scheduling privilege so that you from your account could schedule the meetings on behalf of the other account. No one has to go in there and go, oh, this Sunday we have to have another meeting. And I don't know if you've been doing that and logging into the other account and then coming back to your account. But the reality is you could log into your account, and when you do that scheduling privilege, there's a box that appears up at the top. When you click, I want to create a new meeting, it then says, who is this for? Is it for you or is it for somebody else? And you just pick, it's going to belong to them. I don't think it even really matters who it belongs to in your particular case. You're really taking care of everything. And the fact that you are both on the same account, you could put each other in as alternate hosts as well. Well, you don't even need to in scheduling privilege, because with scheduling privilege, you are automatically made an alt host. If it was your meeting and the other person had scheduling privilege and they started first, they would go ahead and start the meeting. I mean, there's so many advantages to that scheduling privilege. And the only time it does not work is if the two accounts are not on the same organization. If one, I'm using my business office and the other one is, I'm using my private account, you can't do scheduling privilege. But if they're both on the same account, you can trade that back and forth. And I've done that with bosses and their assistants and co-members of boards of directors and that sort of stuff. Just set up the scheduling privilege, and that makes a whole lot of things a lot easier.
So I just want to just make sure I understand exactly what you're saying, Ray.
Yeah.
I can take one of my free accounts, add it to the church's account, make that free account a paid account, and that it is a part of the church's account.
Yes.
And then once that's done, have access to scheduling privilege.
Yes. There's a couple of, someone has to go in, and I'll help you do this remotely too. Set a couple of settings to make that scheduling privilege active. It's not automatically there. But once that's done, nobody has to do anything anymore. It's set and ready to go.
Okay.
I believe that's what you helped me with that one time, Ray.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Frank.
So I'm going to be a little pedantic here, but you can't add your account to the church's account. The church can invite you to join their account, and when you do that, you become part of their account, and all their settings will apply to you. Whatever settings you used to have, as far as your admin center, will go away, and you'll have to live under whatever the church's organizational account settings are. So they have to invite you, and you have to accept.
And I can help you with that too, Tony. And the reality is, Tony probably set up both of them, so there's not going to be that much difference anyway.
Sure.
Well, no, Ray. I would love to have been the one to set it up, but this,
Tell us your problems, Tony.
It's there's such few of us, and everybody is overwhelmed. Um, that in a larger sense, I'm the one that's kind of pushing for there to be a certain level of quality, whereas they are just sort of happy just to be doing it. And that's good enough, but I know that we could do better. So that's the problem that I'm wrestling with, and I realize that it's really an issue of, because I guess on a certain level I should say, well, if they're happy with it, let it be what it is, and
Well,
let it go.
I would add in, Tony. There's a certain amount of push that you can do, but you have to gauge how much friction there is in that push. And if the friction is high, yeah, you have to go. It's not worth upending everything to go from 85% to 95% quality or whatever you think the numbers might be.
Right.
But if you go, oh, if we just did this, this would happen. If everybody went, oh, that would be wonderful. Let's try that. Then your friction level is low, and you can try to take things up a notch. So yeah, I totally get what you're getting, and I've got a couple of clients that have been going, look, Zoom events is the way to run your session, and they're like, no, we want to start in a webinar in the morning and stay in that webinar all day.
Mm-hmm.
And for people who say that's just the way I want to do it, that's the way I want. I've even been pushing them to use Stream Alive, and they've like, no, we don't want to do Stream Alive. And one of my organizations I did just last week, I finally got someone to go, oh yeah, we need to do some of that, and they loved it. Yeah, do what you can.
Yeah, it's really kind of, um, I I don't want to say that it's frustrating, but what I would say is that because everybody is stretched, but the desire is there, the problem is that it's just not enough of us that can commit to what needs to be done. And I think that I have to get to the point where I can just be satisfied with that, because I don't even know how much more I can do in terms of, sort of, where I am with everything. But, it's, and as I think about, well, I'll just say this. So we are in the process of building a building. And so some of you know that I've reached out and talked about, the conduits being in place for whatever we're going to do down the line, where there's potential for growth. And it's like I'm being heard, but it's not kind of being internalized, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's I'm just not sure, what to do in terms of, or even what to suggest, because I think the mindset is not to embrace. Let me say it this way. I think the mindset is to embrace the way things have been traditionally done and then go back and add the things that we want to do that are post pandemic. Whereas it would be beneficial to do it as part of the process of the build
And cheaper,
and
long
cheap.
run.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I don't really know what to tell you, Tony. My perspective on that would be, can we at least get someone to give us an estimate of what the incremental cost would be to put these types of things in? Have them consult with an AV firm or whatever, or maybe you can scratch out on a piece of paper some drawings of where you would like to have things, and at least go, if we could have just the wiring put in place for that so that we can implement it after the church has been occupied. Um, and to me, that really is where, the rubber meets the road. If they go, oh, we got an estimate and it's another $1,500. And I don't think, it's probably going to be more than that, but but so let's do that. If it was $15,000, they might go, oh, that would be really nice, but who's going to pay for that at this point? It's worth getting an estimate, I think, or asking them to go get an estimate to meet the possible future needs, and explain to them that, look, if we decide to do it later, it's not $15,000, because then they have to come in and cut holes in the walls and string cord through behind insulation and all that sort of stuff, and it's going to be disruptive and it's going to cost more. So that would be my suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to say thank you, gentlemen, so much for, I guess, more than anything else, letting me vent a little bit. So I'm just going to say thank you so much. And I'm not concerned because I don't think any of them are going to be watching Zoom Test Kitchen. So I don't think this is going to come back and bite me, but I'm just not sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say, Tony, that if any of them do come watch this and pay any attention, they'll know that you are among experts who are trying to give you good advice. We are not a sales guy going, oh yeah, you should do this for only 15,000. We're trying to give you good advice.
And I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Thank you all so much again.
Thanks,
Thank
Tony.
you, Tony.
Yeah. And we've got a question from Web Video in YouTube. And he is asking us, he says, please explain why Zoom has so many different URLs for login. I want to teach newbies how to use specific Zoom features, and I don't want to have to take time helping them find a preferences page. A preferences page is what they put. I'm assuming the preferences page would be like related to. Yeah, I'm not actually sure what the preferences page actually is referencing.
Looking for a preference page that tells you where to go log in.
Yeah, I'm not sure. The only other thing I can think of is when it comes to the now again, of course, if you're talking about, is there a main login for your account on Zoom? Yes. Is there a main login for the communities forum? Yes. Is there a main login for the developers forum? Yes. So there's three that I could come off the top of my head that are Zoom related. I don't know, Ray, if there's any others, unless Frank knows, but I'll go to Ray first.
I would say the basic answer is no. I am personally can't think of the right word, kind of confused by Zoom's approach to what I would like to see as an SSO. You get, name at domainname.com, and that once you're there, all of the multi-site stuff is put together and you don't have to log in again, with a single exception of maybe the community forum, because they don't want you to have a Zoom account to do that. Everything else that really requires you to have an account should all allow you to get in there. You should be able to go to submit a support ticket. You should be able to go to look at your all your settings. You ought to be able to click all of the things that allow you to use the web version of a specific app and that sort of stuff. I should be able to log in once and not have to log in every time I switch contexts.
And Ray, to your point that you made a minute ago about the community forum not requiring a Zoom account, there's even a way around that says if you have a Zoom account, it'll take you to the community forum. And if you don't, but if you go to the community forum, you don't need the Zoom account. Different way of approaching it.
Yeah, that's true. And I guess, from my perspective, if I'm logged in and I see a Zoom menu, I should be able to click on anything there and go directly in and not be asked again. The Zoom events platform is notorious to me for going, oh yeah, you were logged in over there, but you're not logged in over here. Now you got to log in again. It might have improved kind of recently, but yeah.
Yeah. So there was a follow-up from WebVDO saying, like, meetings tab and settings.
Well, the settings for meetings and the settings for webinars and the settings for AI are, in my opinion, always going to be different than the actual places where you schedule meetings and schedule webinars and do things like AI and that sort of thing. And it's complex, but even the workplace app, I mean, you have to go into settings to change settings. And then you can use the workplace app all you want, and there you can drag and drop menu items while you're in a particular app. But you want to do settings, you have to go over to the settings area. So I don't see that ever changing, if that's kind of the crux of the question.
Right. Yeah. I'll wait for WebVDO's follow up to what you just said, Ray, and I'll get back to you. Cool. And while we're waiting for WebVDO to get back to us with a follow up to Ray's information, oh, there's Mr. Paskin, and he gets to see it. Look out! Here it comes. If you have any questions, bam,
bam,
there it is. And no, I haven't got the whoosh in there yet, as of yet. So yeah, let us know in chat if you have any questions. There you go. Bam, and I did it when David was still here. Look at that. It makes his day. I see a big grin now after I did that.
You sound like Emerald Lagasse ripoff or something.
Yeah. Not enough bam though in the bam.
Need more bam?
We expect a whoosh next week.
Yeah, really.
All right. So just waiting for WebVDO. If you do have any follow-ups to what Ray was mentioning, Zoom is not a small app anymore too. So it very well easily could be that, there's a lot of different settings in different areas. Yes, absolutely. Their workplace app is quite a large app now, considering there's all the new features and such.
Canva. So Ray, Frank, I've never paid attention to it, but let's just say you're going in and scheduling a meeting and you're going to use the settings panel in the old UI on the left-hand side. But say you have a meeting already scheduled and you want to change the settings. Is it the same link?
Well, it depends. It depends. There are, when you are scheduling a meeting, there's a section down at the bottom that is options. And any of those options that you've set for your meeting, and including, is it going to use a generated meeting ID or your past, your PMI ID, all that sort of stuff. Once the meeting is created, those things are set. But if you check the little box to automatically initiate a cloud recording, what the cloud recording does is over in your main application settings for your account.
But you just hit my point. That's another way that various links can appear, and they're not always, even though they look like they should be the same.
Yeah.
To the casual observer, they are not. They are not the same.
Yeah.
They're not going to the exact same place, at least from a UI perspective.
You do have to learn a little bit of Zoom navigation.
Right.
I'm sure most of you guys know this, but the 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 meeting ID has a different amount of characters depending on what kind of meeting it is too. Like a 10-digit meeting ID is different than 11. I think 10 is a personal meeting, and 11 is a scheduled meeting. Trivia. But
I didn't follow that.
you know the meeting ID?
Yeah. Oh, the
Okay.
number of I'm
characters
sorry.
in the meeting
Yeah.
ID. If there's
Okay.
10, it's usually a PMI. If it's 11, it's usually an instant or scheduled meeting.
Well, so let's
Oh.
test that. So David, is this on your PMI number or is this on a scheduled number?
This is a PMI.
Okay, so there are 10 digits in the
Yep.
meeting ID.
I would have to say, I think I remember a time so many years ago where all of them were 10 digits, and probably for reusability purposes, they had to expand that number to 11. Like 2020 or 2021. I think I remember seeing that.
So are we taking bets on when they have to expand that to 12?
I would hope they would archive a whole bunch of meetings, and just go, these numbers are now back in the meeting pool.
The meeting pool is weird. If you delete a meeting ID and then you decide you need that meeting ID, if you act quickly enough and you can get Zoom tech support and it hasn't already been reissued, sometimes they can give it back to you. But they do go back in the pool, and eventually if they get used, then you can't have them. Meeting IDs also have like J's and what is the other S's in them? J is a join link. I think S is for the meeting link for the host or something.
Well, there's a J between two slashes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All of that
intervening piece.
That whole meeting ID has components, and each component means something.
Correct.
Okay, I asked my favorite fellow associate Perplexity, when did Zoom meeting IDs expand from 10 digits to 11? Zoom expanded new instant schedule recurring meetings and webinar IDs from 9 digits to 11 digits around April of 2020. The apparent 10 to 11 digit distinction is that PMIs are 10 digits, while regular instant scheduled and recurring meeting IDs are now 11 digits since April of 2020.
Very cool. Very, very cool. Web video, if you've got any additional information for us, let us know. I haven't seen anything in chat to follow up for your question earlier. And Andy asked me about what ATEM I'm using, and the official answer is it's an ATEM Mini Pro. And the actual minus this whoosh is done as an ATEM macro, going through my media pool as different pictures for each different shape.
It's interesting
So
because on my ATEM, I just can load in all the pictures into the media pool. There's actually a
yeah,
place for stingers in the media pool now, on the 2ME and
right. Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Again, because of the limited space still on the A10 Mini Pro, it doesn't have the stinger stuff in there. But yeah, you're right. On the bigger ones, they gave more space for stuff like that. Oh, web video actually has an update. Okay, Ray. He's asking this person's at web video is asking AI overview. Zoom has multiple login URLs because of enterprise branding, single sign-on requirements, and regional routing.
Yeah, so it matters what kind of an account you're in.
Right.
If you're in a gov or a healthcare or that sort of thing, maybe you have to go somewhere else. But for your average everyday person who, bought an account from Zoom, go to zoom.us, or I like to go to zoom.us/profile. And you should be able to log in there.
Yeah.
A lot of people have vanity URLs for their Zoom login.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
It
I've
it
got
all
the
really,
vanity URL, but I don't use it to log in.
A lot of companies and corporations use the vanity one.
all right. And we're all quiet again. And David very quietly left us too. So bye, Dave. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
But yeah, so web video actually, he actually put in chat that he actually asked AI that question, and that was the answer that AI gave that person back was Zoom has multiple login URLs because of enterprise branding, single sign-on, and regional routing. Yes, yes. But again, it really depends on what type of in your situation. If you want to train people, it would depend on the type of companies you are training and what type of Zoom accounts they actually really have. Between a pro to a business to an enterprise, different scenario.
And if SSO is enabled, every SSO group has their own set of places that you have to go to authenticate there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, interesting other question, which I don't think I know the answer to, but I'll throw it out to the panelists, is from Web Video asking, I want free account users to see same page as pro account users. Will there be a problem? Well, obviously
Regular
there's going to be
pro
pro,
and regular free accounts all log into the same spot.
right? But as far as features are concerned, of course, pro is going to have more features than the free account, of course, because you're paying versus not paying.
There's two kinds of free users, though.
Right. Yeah, go ahead, Frank. You brought it.
Oh, well, so I think a year ago or maybe 2 years ago, Zoom said, okay, as an admin, when you give someone an account, you can make them a free user. I think one kind is restricted and one is unrestricted, which means basically a restricted user can't initiate any meetings, even a 40-minute meeting. They're not allowed. They can only join meetings. Or you can have a free user who can at least initiate meetings even with the 40-minute limit.
But is he also asking the question, Frank, to say for somebody who just signed up for a free account and he wants to show them what they're looking at, will they be able to? And I don't think a free account sees the exact same web pages.
It's been so long since I dealt with anything free.
I would say you're partially right. They see the same pages, but the the layout of the information that's on the page may be different. They still have the meetings tab. You know, they can go to the webinar tab, but if they go to the webinar tab, it's going to go, yeah, you need to buy a license in order to do that.
Right.
But each of those menu items would be the same, and many of the things on those menu pages would be the same. But the things that you don't have access to because you're on a basic account, in some cases, I know it's a little inconsistent based on my experience, but in some cases is grayed out, and in other cases just non-existent.
Right. Then the other question is he trying to show them or allow them to go to on their own system? Because their web pages, you could share the browser from if you're trying to instruct them.
I guess I'm not certain. When he says a free user, does he mean a person who went to the Zoom webpage and created their own free Zoom account? Or does he mean he's sending people invitations to his organizational structure as a free user? Like, I don't know what he means by that.
That was kind of what I was getting at, Frank, is because if it's the former, all bets are off, right?
Right. Right. Yeah. So I just asked, okay, web video is actually saying they created their own free Zoom account. I guess that's an answer to.
Yeah. So he's doing a public service to people who are brand new to Zoom and helping them get familiar with Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
And so the other thing that I would say, web video, is a free account is a free account. You could actually create a free account within your paid account. You have two, and it would be, video 1 and video 2, or whatever you wanted to call them. But you could actually demonstrate on your own free account. If you have two computers, even better, you could have your side computer with your main thing there, but then actually do the demos on your free account. And if you needed to go make a change to something, but if your admin enables this feature, go over to your main account, enable the feature, and then come back and go, this is what you would see, if they were in a organization that also had free accounts. In this case, it probably won't matter, but yeah.
Yeah. So two follow-ups to that. So web video is saying that I'm planning practice labs where I can help them. And also I want to teach them how to create a Zoom cartoon avatar, for example, and get the work done on their own account. Remind me, guys, when it comes to avatars, is that on the free account? I don't know anymore either. I'm like Frank. I don't know that.
I haven't done anything with free for so long.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can actually make avatars
A
with
basic free Zoom account can use Zoom avatars in meetings, including the animal avatars and some customizable cartoon avatars, provided the account level avatars setting is enabled and the workplace desktop app supports the feature. So they can't be doing that from a web browser. That sort of stuff has to be done in the desktop app. And of course, then there's machine power features that have to be, you can't run this on Tony's 2012 Mac, maybe, I don't know.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. There are system requirements for you to be able to make avatars. Go, Frank. What'd you find?
I don't think I'm saying anything different from what Ray and Peter are saying, but I just see a pitfall to this. So let's say I'm this person and I tell people, go get a free Zoom account and then come to my meeting, right? And or just watch my tutorials and do this with your own account. But each person who signs up for a free Zoom account kind of has to go into their Zoom admin panel and make some decisions which will impact what they can or can't do, right? In their own meetings, at least.
Exactly.
Well, from my perspective, that's another tutorial. Let's get you through what actually comes with the meeting when you first get it. And I've done that before a couple of times. Just sign up for a brand new basic account. What's in there? and then go take screenshots of how all that stuff works, and then make adjustments and go, okay, this is the way I would like for it to work for you, and I'll show you how to make that transition. I mean, that was a couple of years ago when I did something like that, and everything's changed, as we know. But yeah, almost have to decide on an educational strategy. Do I first tell them, here's what it's going to look like when you get it right out of the box? Here's the adjustments that I think you should probably make to make yourself a good, Zoom attendee experience. And then here's what's available to you once you make these adjustments. And that's, to me, important to give the people early on in a simple manner so that they don't get overwhelmed with all of the detail. But let them at least get used to the fact that there's some settings and there's some advantages and disadvantages to enabling and disenabling certain things. And you can disable things if you want to keep it just really, really simple. And you can enable some things if you want to get a little bit more of the complex things, like the avatars. The avatar thing has to be turned on for you to be using the avatars in the workplace app.
And on top of that too, like Ray said, you have to make sure you have the certain system preferences or certain system requirements. There's the word I wanted, to make sure that you can actually make an avatar as complicated as you want to make it. Go ahead, Frank, and then I'll update everybody with
I'm just gonna
web video.
add on to what Ray said, just to be more explicit. If a person joins a Zoom meeting from a desktop application, so Mac or Windows, versus coming in from a web browser versus coming in from a mobile device, the desktop application is the most fully featured Zoom experience you can have. And once you do something else, you start to give up feature parity and you won't be able to do certain things. So if you're having some sort of workshop and 3 people come in on computers and then 2 people come in on web browsers, or I should say computers using the desktop application, versus someone coming in on a web browser versus someone coming in on their phone or tablet, you're going to have a bit of chaos because it's not going to be feature parity across all those different peoples.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, guys, this is basically what he said, or this web video said. Desktop app. Yes, exactly. The Zoom Workplace app. Absolutely. So yeah, that's good. And we should maybe let's just briefly talk about the major differences, desktop versus browser versus mobile, is what web video just typed in the chat.
There's a table on the Zoom web support site that explains every feature and whether it works on each of those platforms. It's a very long list, and I don't want to discuss it all here. We'd be here for about 7 hours.
Right, exactly. And chances are, if web video, if you take a look at some of our archives, chances are we've already discussed this many times over the last few years. But yeah, and on top of that too, it also depends on the versions you're running as well.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we're basing everything most of the time when we speak and give suggestions on Zoom Test Kitchen. Most of the time we are giving it based on within the last couple of versions, if not the latest version.
I think we showed that chart 3 shows ago.
Oh, there you go. Good memory, Frank. Good stuff. So yeah, so if you double check in our archives, you'll be able to find that there definitely is 100% differences between the desktop app, browser experience, and mobile experience. Do they complement each other? Yes. On the basics, absolutely. But once you start and want to get fancy, like an avatar or backgrounds or anything AI even generated too, there's going to be certain things that are not going to happen in a browser that will happen on the desktop, as an example. And then of course mobile is its own animal in there too. So yeah, definitely check out that chart.
You beat me, Ray. I was just about to paste it. So Ray put it in the chat if you want to copy it into the YouTube chat for that person.
Yeah, there you go. I will do that.
I did too already.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You beat me to it. I was just about to paste it.
Yeah,
in the YouTube chat.
I put it in YouTube too.
Yeah.
I see. Thank you.
Yeah, I just put it in there. Everybody's blocked. You have to.
We're so nice, aren't we? A nice place. We're always nice to everyone.
Yes.
How Canadian of you. How Canadian of you.
Well,
You're all honorary Canadians today.
Yeah, that's it. And by the way, Frank, you are getting comments from our resident Polish boy saying, being very patriotic with the Canadian hat on.
Oh,
He was
thank you
very
very
pleased.
much. Jak się ma?
Yeah, it's a boy. Yeah, a boy. That's not bad. That would go in Polish or Ukrainian. Yeah, that's good enough. Yeah, that was good enough. Good stuff. Robert, you got to like that he tried. It was very close. Okay. All right. Very cool. All right. So I'll show off the media pool again. Whoosh, and I'll have my whoosh in my manually. If you have any questions from YouTube that like we were just helping with web video, let us know in chat and we will do our best while we have our panelists here. So let us know in chat.
Sound
yeah,
effect
that-
stunt double.
What did I miss? What did I miss? What did I miss?
Just sound effect stunt double with a whoosh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what video has another one? All right. Can you recommend where I can join a club to get an enterprise account? Join a club to get an enterprise account.
No.
Yeah, go to college where they'll give you an account that's on their account. Enterprise accounts, nobody gives them away or even will sell them to you unless you are a member of their organization. So enterprise means the big term enterprise, hospitals,
There's
corporations,
government too.
nonprofit organizations.
Super highly unlikely. Maybe if you volunteer somewhere and they use Zoom, they might. But I mean, I've never heard of it.
Well, you started to step on it right there. I mean, I do a bunch of volunteer for the National Council of the Boy Scouts of America. I do have access to their Zoom Enterprise account, but I can count on one hand the number of volunteers who have access to that on a base of about 100,000 volunteers.
I think Zoom is, I don't know, $14 a month, $18 a month. Just you can buy a license monthly. You don't have to buy for the whole year. If you really want to study hard for 1 month, buy a license for 1 month.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. What video says, I was in a club that wasn't managed well. The person bought licenses and resold them.
Ooh.
That is against Zoom terms of use. That
Yes.
person was breaking a lot of rules right there.
And
Yeah.
just
and
short of
what-
probably being banned.
Yeah, exactly. And web video made a comment, undercover of a club. I see.
I'm sure
Right.
there's people doing nefarious things, but if Zoom found out about that, they would ban all of those accounts.
Right.
Yeah. Instantly. Absolutely instantly. Now I guess maybe for web videos situation, is enterprise really that different than a business account? I guess, but if I was a teacher, I guess let's go hypothetical here, and web video is a teacher, is it best for that teacher to have an enterprise account, or is a business account enough to be able to teach all the different levels?
I've got a business account and I see, every time Frank goes, oh, I've got this sort of a thing, I'll go look, and I've got those too. Not that I would lock down people from doing things or would force certain installs to happen or anything like that. But once you get beyond the basic account, I would say the vast majority of that is even in a pro account, because with a pro account, you can have, 10 people. And with a business account, you can start a business account with just one person now. Didn't used to be the case. You had to have 10 people to start a business account. But one person can have a business account, which has a couple of advantages if you're willing to pay the extra money. If you're on a limited budget and that sort of stuff, doing it with a club, I would say just try it with a pro account. You can fairly easily get it for a month. And then if you're like, oh, well, this isn't that much different, now I've got to develop some course material, let me go off and do some writing, you could actually shut down the paid part of that for a month and use it as a basic account for a month or two while you wrote your course scripts and that sort of stuff, and then turn it back on when you wanted to use it. It's a whole month increment when you sign up for it. But if you then, turn off the renewal in the middle, it will go to the end of that month. Now, if you started it, like I started mine on June the 2nd, and how I know that is because that's when my annual things come due. And so whenever I do anything, it starts on the 2nd of the month and ends on the 2nd of the next month. And yeah, if you have the means to at least get a pro account, it's worth it, I think.
Right. So
I have to
there you
hop
go.
off here and take a call.
All righty, cool. Thanks, Ray. But yeah, so when it comes to web video and training, you should be perfectly fine with a business account. And if an enterprise really wants to have you come in and actually train them, then chances are just ask them for a temporary license account so that you could actually have an equivalent license at that time. But
Yeah.
you should be able to perfectly fine, as even Pete, you were saying very rare do you even use your enterprise account, right? Even though you have access.
Well, yeah, I mean, most of the stuff I do is on my personal pro business account because I have a
Right.
couple of those that I own directly, right? And the only reason I have business accounts versus pro accounts is I was sick and tired of bumping the meeting attendee limit, bumping up against the attendee limit, right? Pro account is 100, business account is 300.
Right. Yeah.
That was the only reason I did it, is I just got because I worked out the math, the dollar value per month or annual chart difference in the rate to go from 100 to 300 on just for 1 month was more money than if I actually said, just sign me up for a year and be done with it and make me a business account.
Right. And then you knew that you had the flexibility at any time to do up to 300 and you didn't worry
That's
about
right.
it. Out of sight, out of mind. Very cool.
But yeah, that was and then the only other thing I've done is, on my account was get the enhanced media license because I wanted Zoom ISO.
Uh-huh. And I would love to know your experience on that so far. Absolutely. If you don't mind, Pete. How have you
In what sense?
how have you been using the media? The
I'll
pack,
use it.
the add-on?
I use Zoom ISO at least twice a week.
Okay, but are you using the actual 1080p 60 portion?
If people are present themselves as, yes,
Okay.
right? I mean, not everyone can do it. And for instance, I don't think I am right now because I'm not using my main camera. You could check.
Sure. Yeah, I'll check. Yeah, just give me a sec. Go for it. Keep talking while I take a look.
Spotlight me and then
Spotlight you. I will.
and then see
You
if
have
I'm
been
actually
spotlit. And I am definitely seeing 1080p 25 from
Yeah.
user.
so that's the camera doing it. It's just a simple old webcam, Logitech webcam.
Yep. Yeah, and I don't know if David actually has on the
On
when it
that
comes
machine.
on that account, does he have the media experience or not? I don't know.
Yeah.
Again,
I know
that's also
I know I've played with the enhanced media on after hours with each other, and we have it. It even works with my Starlink account and as long as I'm using my good camera, which will put out at 1080p 60.
right. Right. Yeah. And again, my workflow into, so that's all. And this is also something that also should be important that everybody understand too. And Pete is dabbling into this a little bit, where he's saying that right now he's using a Logitech webcam, which obviously USB. Pete?
Yeah, it's a USB-C.
Right. So it's coming in via USB-C. So it, again, the limitation of his video coming in is the Logitech being able to only do 30, right? At most.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So in that regards, that's his limitation. So even if David did have 60 on,
yeah. Well,
again, the limitation of Pete's infrastructure at his workplace app end is still the
yeah.
limitation, right?
But for
So it
instance, let me
doesn't
try.
matter.
Let's try this.
All right.
So we'll turn the
All right.
lights on.
And turn the lights on.
That's my good camera.
Okay.
Now, if you spotlight, because you have to spotlight me to get me up to
Yep.
1080p.
Pin or spotlight, but I will spotlight you for everybody. Oh, there you are. Okay. Yeah, it took a little second there. All right. Let me take a look what's going on here. And I will double check. And just for everybody's sake, where am I looking to find out if Pete is actually sending what he's sending? Is I'm going into the settings section, and this is for web video. I don't know if you know about this or not. And I'm actually going to statistics. That's a hard word to say, and I actually said it right the first time, and I'm very proud of myself for that. And then I go to the video tab in there, and now I'm actually looking, and I see, without a doubt in your mind, I am for sure getting. Oh, you just dipped on.
1080p 30. As I've seen it go up to 1080p 30.
Yeah, yeah.
So which tells me, in all probability, that David does not have enhanced media on this account turned on.
Right, right. And again, I don't know if it's a limitation. And again, we always throw this out there too, that this is a PIM, right? Personal meeting ID, BMI.
Yeah, PMI.
BMI, yeah.
Because what I'm coming through to you now is a Blackmagic Micro Studio Generation 2 camera via SDI into my ATEM, via SDI into this computer via Ultra Studio recorder. So
Right.
it is certainly capable of handling up to 1080p 60 without any issues, right?
Right.
So
Correct.
so it is purely on the Zoom side, and you can actually tell. I mean, the quality of the picture is definitely better,
Okay. Good. Good.
right? I mean,
Good.
I don't know if you could tell, but I could tell as soon as I changed the camera.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely a different color space between the two different cameras that you've got there. That's for sure. Yeah. This one definitely is brightened up your background, and it's also brightened you up a little more too. So yeah. So it's definitely, you can tell the difference in the actual camera capabilities.
In the
I
skin
know.
tones, and you can see the wrinkles in my forehead when I talk and things like that. So
Well, as they keep saying, cameras don't lie.
that's right.
That's unfortunate, everybody. If you take
Yeah.
anything away from Zoom Test Kitchen today, cameras don't lie. And if you don't give them enough light, they really will not
Oh,
like
yeah.
you. Yeah. I cannot overtell every time I see somebody that is in the dark or is only using sunlight coming in the room, that
You mean
how
like
much
this?
cameras. Oh, yeah, there we go. Yeah. So there's a perfect
That's-
example,
yeah.
and I'm officially spotlighting him so that everybody sees. Do not do that. And guess where? And he's only glowing because his monitor was on.
That's right.
So unless we're going for that Halloween-ish type look, that we're trying to freak out people in a haunted house. Chances are you don't want to look like that on Zoom.
Though I have been impressed by, and I got to see if it's set up.
All right.
Adjust for low light.
Okay.
If I turn it off. No
Okay.
notice right now because I have my lights on. But if I
Right.
turn it, if I truly turn my lights off, I truly disappear.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So in the zoom setting for adjust for low light, it actually makes it semi-reasonable. I just turned it on.
It's
It's
as soon as you
trying.
did that, it went right after your face. It went wink, and it basically grabbed any light that was coming in that room and just went, "Hello, I know there's a face in there somewhere."
Yes.
Yeah, and just dragged you right in and went, "Hello." So, absolutely, absolutely.
Welcome
Okay.
back, Frank.
Oh, and he's gone, and he's
Hello.
back, and yeah, and he loves that video on, video off button. That Frank guy. Yeah, cool. All right, so let me do this one more time before we wrap it up for this week's edition of Zoom Test Kitchen. So if you do have any further questions for Pete, Frank, even maybe Hasmuth, we're not sure. Hasmuth might be sleeping, but you never know. He might answer. And myself, let us know in chat and we'll do our best to get back to you. And looks like web video, like my little hint about stats, that he actually found statistics at 3 o'clock in the morning. We don't want to know why you're still training at 3 o'clock in the morning web video, but we're glad that you're able to find the information that I was talking about. Oh, all right. Another web video question. Has anyone built an app for Zoom that crosses the API/SDK? I think we're going to need more information about crosses.
Yeah, I don't understand what that means.
Yeah, that. So the answer is yes. Has anybody built an app for Zoom? Yes.
Yeah.
John and I are part of the Zoom developer group. So yes. Crosses
even
the API, SDA? I don't know what crosses mean.
Yeah. And even Hasmuth and I have built apps for the.
Right. Yeah. So
Yeah.
So David has, Peter has, Hasmuth has. So yes, and you guys have used Claude, Pete?
I use
no?
Codex, which
Okay.
is ChatGPT.
Oh, web video says I want my AI agent to mute a mic. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Without your AI agent doing that, or are you talking about being able to touch a button and all of a sudden it's your mute button, which would be equivalent to a keyboard shortcut? That would be my quick question to that.
Yeah,
Or are
I
you
was gonna
talking
say.
somebody else's mic too? Because that's a different story too.
That's the proverbial sledgehammer to
right,
get the AI to do it.
right. Mute a mic. The AI agent is web video says. Yeah, Peter and
There's
I
not
both have
enough
the same.
context there to even begin answering the question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Under
Yeah.
what conditions and circumstances and all the
And
rest
when
of
you
it.
say and when you say AI agent, are you talking about an LLM? Are you talking about Zoom's AI? There's a lot of AI in the world.
Mhm.
ChatGPT, Cloud, Zapier. We were talking about Zapier earlier. That is sort of an integration between this and that and this and that. So
I mean,
there
I
are all
wrote,
kinds of
you know, working off of work that Hasmuth did. I mean, I wrote a program using AI. It's Swift code, so it's for Mac,
right.
that uses the Mac's built-in face detection to see if somebody's actually there, even though if their camera's on, is there actually somebody home, so to speak.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
that's the AI is not doing anything at that point, at least not my Chat GPT client or my Codex client. Yes, the machine learning part of Mac OS is, because it's doing face recognition, but that's built into the operating system. That's actually a function of the operating system in the case of a Mac.
Can you mute, as host, can you mute one person? Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Without
So,
muting all, yeah.
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 Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I
So-
could do that. I do that all the time on, because the Zoom ISO client has that capability. You
Yeah.
push a button for that person and you could say mute.
It's part of the API, so
Yeah.
Yeah. The
And
meeting.
there are
theoretically
and there are-
possible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there are OSC commands to do that.
But
Yeah, and there's also too, there is a keyboard shortcut if you need to mute everybody too. There is a keyboard shortcut for that
Yeah.
too. As long as you're host.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So again, so in Tony's situation where he has the house of worship, in theory, he could actually, as a host, I don't know if And Frank, I would need your help on that. Could a co-host mute everybody? I don't think so. It has to be host, right? A mute
It
all?
would be just click on. Oh, you're usually co-host. It's in the participant list or the host tools, right?
Right. Yeah. Right
Mm-hmm.
now I'm host though, so I would have to
We'll make
switch.
one of us co-host, and I'll look. But
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Done. And done. So I just co-hosted.
So what am I
Frank,
looking for?
You were looking for if you're able to mute all in your keyboard
Ask
shortcut.
all to unmute. Mute all upon entry. Host tools for participants.
Yeah, I like that mute all upon entry.
Yes,
That
it's
is
on the
actually
it's at the bottom of the participants list. It shows up.
There you
yeah,
go.
they're right there. That's right. They did add those buttons recently. That's right. The mute all buttons are.
The mute all button is at the bottom of the participant list.
Yeah, and that's equivalent to the keyboard shortcut.
Mhm.
So that's actually using the meeting SDK, where I don't think the keyboard shortcut is actually using it within the workplace, which I think is it's the same thing, but it's two different calls. I think.
Yes.
Oh, good. Thank you.
And then
I gotta keep, and again, I've got all the different stuff in my brain, and like,
what's nice to know, if they get really serious about this is, Zoom has all the MCPs published for their SDKs, so you could point your favorite AI programming client, in my case, Codex, and say, go read the MCPs. Now, then you ask it, now that you've read them, can I do this, this, and this? And it'll usually come back and say, yes, yes. Would you like me to write the code? Yes. No.
yeah, make sure you don't hallucinate when you're doing so. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Well, the
And-
thing I've found recently for different reasons is because I've also been using Codex to help develop a prototype website for somebody, is when I get to a certain point and I publish it to GitHub, and then I say, remember what you did.
Mm-hmm.
Because I may not come back to it for another 3 days after the person I'm doing this for has a chance to think on it. And we have to always remember AI clients are not deterministic, they're probabilistic. So if you don't tell it to absolutely remember what it did, it will try and reinvent something.
Yeah.
The next time.
Or assume. Or assume. Yeah. The assumption part kills me to no end. Every once in a while when I'm doing AI stuff, it's like, we're doing stuff, it's going fine, everything's fine. Then all of a sudden, it's like, where did you get that from? Oh, didn't you want me to find that?
No.
Like, no. It's like,
No.
who told you? Who told you to do that? Oh, I thought it was a good idea. No, it's not. So yeah, and just to give a couple more tips onto Pete's tip is that I use either a markdown file if I want to be able to what I'm already working on, just in case something should happen and we get to a good point, and let's say the code I'm working on is good and it's functional but might not be the best at that particular point. I would actually then force my AI of choice at that particular point to dump that to a markdown file and make sure that the information that AI puts in there is friendly enough for it to know what it will need to know, everything that it will need to know. So when, as Pete was saying, I come back to it in a day or two, that all I have to do now is do a quick add file or upload the file to the AI of my choice. And it doesn't have to be the same AI at that particular point either. And then all of a sudden you can start on your merry way, because all that is now there, including the code and including all the extra bits and things of, don't forget that we're using, like Pete was saying, don't forget we're using meeting SDK. Don't forget we're using video SDK from Zoom, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. and make sure
Right.
that all that stuff is in there. And this is, and if it doesn't remember the MCP, ask it if it knows about the MCP, and if it doesn't, then this is the URL. Make sure that's in that file too, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, we have to. AI is smart, but AI is also dumb, and as long as you know that, that's also half the battle when you get the proper results from AI. So Pete, you didn't happen to get upselled of you needed an extra feature added? Did AI want to give you an extra feature that you're like, no?
Not so much an extra feature, but what I've been doing was teaching, and again, this has nothing to do with Zoom or anything. It was for something completely different, but
Right.
go to these 4 websites and download these dozen or so reports that are in CSV format,
Right. Nice.
and then
Yep.
manipulate the data and then dump it out to a web page.
Right.
Right.
Nice.
One of the days where I had forgotten to tell it the prior time to remember what you did and what we just did.
Mm-hmm.
So the next time I fired it up, not only did it download those, but it proceeded to start to download every other possible CSV from that website. Because I thought, well, maybe I might need them. And I go, no,
Right.
I don't need them. And I don't want to trip every possible security bell known to mankind because I'm downloading the world.
Right. Yeah. All of a sudden, CSV files turn into big ass, 10 gig databases. Yeah, exactly.
That's right. I said, no, I don't want that. But
I don't want.
And of course, what's really eerie, of course, is it's because that where I'm downloading them from doesn't have an API. So I'm actually letting Codex, ChatGPT, if you will, drive
Yeah.
Chrome. So you could watch it. You could literally watch the mouse move as it's clicking and doing things. So it's a very eerie.
Sure.
It's a very
Sure. Yeah. So so
when that
very
happened,
brave
I
of
was
you.
I was
Very
watching
brave,
it
Pete.
doing
That's
it.
all I gotta
I
say.
was watching when that happened. I was watching it do a thing, and that suddenly realized, wait a minute, it downloaded a report I just don't need. Why? So hit stop. Why did you download that report? Well, I thought you might need it. No, we agreed to the last time that
That's
I
right.
only needed these reports. These 11 things.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's taught me the hard lesson, and when I was doing the programming stuff, the same thing, because I'll get to an iteration. Now there I'm a little easier to do because I'm using GitHub to commit the code to.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so GitHub, I can cause it to back up if I want it to, right?
Right. Yeah.
But if
Yeah.
I'm just doing like writing documents and stuff like that, analyzing data, I don't necessarily use GitHub for that, and there you have to be careful about scoping what you're looking for.
Right. Yeah. 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 And that's an important word you said, scoping. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the hardest thing I've had to learn using GitHub, I mean, I started off my career as a professional engineer and programmer many, many years ago, right? And I was very used to doing things very explicitly in a detailed way, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not what you want to do with these guys. You want to give them a scope and let them figure out how to do it.
Right. Yeah. And if you know how to do it already, this is where you now are babysitting to make sure that they don't make a mistake doing your scope for you.
Right. Well, where I found it a few times has been the case of the I have incorrectly scoped it or incompletely scoped it.
Fair. Where you were not diligent enough to make sure that you didn't you allowed certain boundaries to slip a little bit on the scope this way and that way.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they went and they found the little crack in the wall and they went straight through.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 So yes, always back up your code. So that's what Pete's teaching everybody too. If you're backing it up on GitHub, back it up on GitHub, back it up locally too. Not a bad thing either, especially if you're working on it locally as well. And of course, you could always, don't necessarily commit your GitHub unless you know for sure that the code is working too. That's the other rule of GitHub. So that you can then put it in your master branch instead of it being your commit. But again, we're not here to teach everybody about GitHub. But again, it's a segue to Zoom, because to let everybody know, if you do want to practice with certain things in the Zoom SDK and developer world, take a look on GitHub, because there are samples code from our Zoom developer gang that John and I hang with every couple of weeks. And they've actually put a lot of different examples, not necessarily they're usable examples, but not necessarily are they what you want necessarily to do, but it gives you examples of, if you wanted to be able to bring video in to do something like this, then they give you an example on GitHub and it's over there.
Yeah.
So
yeah, because
take a
I
look
know
for
I think
Zoom
I
on
think I sent you a link to the app, Mike, but I know you're a Windows user.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So I would be a Windows user, and yeah. So if you did
so
write
you
it
probably
in,
could open it, you could open it up and look at it and see what
Right.
it does, but you can't actually run it.
right, unless I had some sort of emulator to but I
That
don't
would
think there is such a thing for
I
Windows.
know there are emulators to run Windows on a Mac, but I don't think there's an emulator to run Mac on Windows.
Windows, yeah. Exactly. If so, not well. Okay. Yeah.
Well, there might be VMware.
Oh, sure. Yeah. No, I could probably put a Mac into a VM. Yes. 100% I could. So I could do
Yeah.
like a Hackintosh type of scenario where I would have to download the not necessarily the latest version of Mac, but maybe a couple of versions backwards, back,
Right.
and get the actual ISO of that, and then throw that into a VM, and then do a couple of little tweakies here and there, so that the Mac thinks that it's actually using M chips, even though it's actually using Intel chips, or
Right.
is if the OS is still capable on Intel chips, then I could probably get away with it a little more on the Intel on a VM. Yeah.
Yep.
Doable. I haven't done it in a while, but yeah, definitely doable. That you could actually throw it into not a Docker. No, you would have to go into a VM for the Mac OS. You wouldn't be able to go as small as doing a Docker or a container. That in that regard, you'd have to go at least to a virtual machine where you can actually designate hardware to the Mac, because the Mac is going to be looking for signatures and processors and such to actually boot. It's just that's the way the operating system works. All right. And Web Video did actually make a comment. Interesting. Oh, I saw that little glitch. And Web Video actually made a comment saying, I do different things in different LLMs. How can I get Cloud to communicate with Gemini? Interesting.
Email.
Email.
Yeah. I have Gemini and Claude talk to each other via email, or not Gemini and Codex,
Okay.
or
Alright.
if the other way I've done it, but this is a Mac specific thing, is, and maybe it's the same concept is available on Windows. You can set it to watch a folder,
Sure.
and you can say, put a semaphore flag in the folder, says, okay, ChatGPT, it's your turn. Now go look at this stuff and tell it where to look, right?
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah. 100%. So you basically, yeah. So I know where you're going with this, Pete. So basically, whatever one you would want to write in first, be it Cloud or Gemini, you'd have to choose. Do everything that you need to do in Cloud first, if you want to choose Cloud first, because you typed it first. And then once you got Claude, or as Hesmuth is still here yet, Uncle Cloud, we were starting to call Claude. If once Uncle Claude is done, then you need some Gemini functionality. Again, you're just pointing wherever you put the Claude code. Now you're pointing Gemini at that same code. And then yeah, that's what you meant, Pete. Yeah. So that's how you would do it. But you have to do it one at a time. You can't Claude and Gemini talking together to each other. No, not directly. Indirectly, yes. So you'd have to have them do it one and then the other. And this is similar to what John and I were talking about too, is that are you actually, are we what did we say? How are we saying it? When it comes to, are you going steady with one LLM, or are you actually, are you, out there choosing multiple different ones? We're using a dating analogy in that regards. Are you going steady with one LLM, or are you actually, dating multiple LLMs? I think is where we're going.
I mean, the thing I always have to remember, and so I've also done the email thing. So I'll get just for grins, and I'll use keywords in the subject line of the email. So I'll get both of them know how to send an email. Both of them know how to send an email. And they both of them know how to receive an email. They both know how to scan your email if you give them access to an email account. So I set up a dummy email account, not one that I don't use for anything else, except for one these AIs I want them to talk to with regard to them. And one writes a message, says, whatever, doesn't matter what it is. And the other one picks, periodically scans that same email account, says, oh, there's a message for me. And then looks and says, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do. Okay, goes off and does it. Then when it's done doing it, it sends another email back to the other one saying, I've done it. Now what?
Yeah. So basically you're using keywords as if, Claude, you're not supposed to do anything until you see an email that says Claude.
Yeah. Or whatever. Yeah.
Or whatever. Right. Yeah. So in web video's case, it could be, in this scenario, the email is Claude has to do something first, and then Claude has to basically send an email report of what Claude did, and then make sure that in the top of the email or within the subject or wherever it says, Gemini, this is for you. And then Gemini knows,
right.
Oh, I got an email. It's for me. So what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to now read the email. But again, you're telling Gemini this in the back end, and you're also telling Claude this in the back end too, to do these things, right? They're not just going to magically do it. You still have to still give them both information to do that.
Yep.
Oh, and web video wants a quick answer on how does Claude get access to the email?
You tell it.
I don't
you
know
give
this.
it. You give it. You tell it. I asked the question. In my case, it was Codex. It wasn't Claude. But I imagine since they're both comparable products, if you will, I just asked Codex, can you read Gmail? Yes. What Gmail account would you like me to read? And you say this one. So you have to approve it. Operative word, because it asks permission. And after that, it can read your email. I mean, Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT, they all have these, if you actually start from scratch, they all have these suggested things you can try. And one of them is to summarize your email every morning that came in overnight. So clearly they all know how to read your email.
Right. And I think where web video is actually getting confused is web video is saying, do they each have email addresses? The answer is no.
No. I created a special email that they accessed in my case because I didn't want them looking at my personal email, nor did I want all the message traffic polluting each other. But I said, access this email. I mean, I've got half a dozen email accounts, for Christ's sake.
Right. So basically, yeah. And again, web video. So basically okay. Web videos is you got web video thinking now. Good. This is good. This is why you come to the Zoom Test Kitchen is because again, all you need to do then is set up, web video dash AI at gmail.com as an example.
Yeah.
Right. So you set up this free account, and now all you do now is in that email address account, you give Claude access and Gemini access.
Yeah.
And now, but here's the important part now, and this is where Pete and I are talking about. Now, at each end, when you have Claude do something, and when Claude is finished doing something and you want that Claude to send an email, Claude uses that email address to send itself an email.
That's right.
And then, but make sure that you template that email, tell Claude the template of the email, so that when you go over to Gemini, Gemini knows that, oh, that email's for me because I'm waiting for that email, but it would staying within the same email account, even though both of them have access to that same
Basically,
email.
in my case, it's the first word of the subject line.
Right. Exactly. So yeah. So web video says, how do I give them access? I would guess each LLM would actually have different ways
Yeah.
of being able to authenticate.
So, for
You'd have
instance,
to
in the
just do a
case in the
little more.
case of Codex / GPT, it's what they call a skill.
Right.
So you use, and you install the skill, and then it asks you what email account you want to give it access to. It's actually, the skill is called read Gmail.
Yeah. So there you go.
And there's
So-
actually, by the way, you can also write email too. All right, so you could read and write emails.
Right. And of course, the easiest one that's going to be able to do this, of course, is Gemini. Hello, it's Google.
That's right.
So if it doesn't know how to read a Gmail address, but
Yeah. Now
again,
it may.
what-
What's interesting about that is it may default to whatever your browser is signed into.
right.
It's going to say, oh, you're signed into Chrome to this particular Gmail account. That's obviously the one you want me to use, right? No, that's not the one you wanted to use, probably.
Right. Yeah. 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 Gemini has done an awesome job of, I asked Gemini, not thinking that Gemini could actually integrate with my calendar, but I asked Gemini to actually make me an ICS file, a reminder, so that I could actually import it into my Google Calendar. And then guess what good old Gemini did? Oh, I already did that for you. You did what? I said, what? Who told you to do that? I said, make the IACS file that it is readable by Google Calendar. I didn't say put it in my Google Calendar.
But then the question you have to ask yourself is, well, it is Google after all.
It is what it is. Yeah. So it thought is. Yeah, so exactly what video. Say what? Yeah, exactly. Say what is right. Yeah, so I'm like, but again, that's just giving you a quick example that, and again, because Pete's right, because I was using my certain account that does have a calendar to it, and it happened to be the calendar that I wanted it to be importing into, which was great. It was all convenient, but it still freaked me out because I'm like,
Yeah.
I didn't tell you to do that. I told you to make the file so I could import it myself. It's very nice that you know how to do it. It's very pretty that you did it. So now there's a brand new memory in Gemini now for me that says, if I ever ask you to do this again, Pete's
Just
laughing
do
around.
exactly what I said.
That's right. Make it a file. And if you are in the mood to be nice to me and go, would you like me to add that to your Google Calendar? Ask me.
Yeah.
Don't just do it. Ask me.
Yeah.
Exactly. Cool. And we're 6 o'clock, Pete, and it is that time of the day to let everybody have their say.
About time for dinner at my end. So
That's right. And if you're a regular here on Zoom Test Kitchen, you know what time it is. That's right. It's karaoke time, everybody. That's right. You heard it. And web video, if you haven't been here before, welcome to the karaoke version, or the karaoke portion, I should say, of Zoom Test Kitchen. Enjoy, everybody. I want to hear you.
Welcome to the Zoom Test Kitchen where the magic happens. Live every Friday mic is clear, your camera not a drab. We'll show you how to host like a pro, manage like a king. With Zoom Test Kitchen, you'll be zooming with a zing. Zooming in, we're testing it all. Live on YouTube each week. From audio to video, no feature we won't tweak. We're the Zoom Test Kitchen crew, here to innovate. Join the fun, learn the tech, don't be late. Whether you're new to Zoom or an expert in disguise, we've got tips and tricks, we'll open up your eyes. From polls to quizzes, we test functionalities. Join us live, see what Zoom does with these. So if your meetings lag, or you can't share your screen, or if your audio echoes like you're stuck in between, we've got solutions, we'll show you how it's done. Zoom Test Kitchen, where Zoom fun has begun. Zooming in, we're testing it all. Live on YouTube each week. From audio to video, no feature we won't tweak. We're the Zoom Test Kitchen crew, here to innovate. Join the fun, learn the tech, don't be late. So tune in, don't miss out on this tech fest we lead. Every Friday, Zoom Test Kitchen, where you'll succeed. We'll make your Zoom meeting smooth, keep the tech in check. In the Zoom Test Kitchen, we've got your back. No rest. We're the Zoom Test Kitchen, we've got your
Big finish. That's right. We got your back. No wreck. Thanks everyone for joining us this week on the Zoom Test Kitchen. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel to let YouTube and Zoom know how much you love our content. We're here every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific, and check your local listings and your check your local listings. I sound like a television channel. I'm sorry about that. Check your local time zone to match up to the 3 p.m. Eastern time. See everyone next week for another edition of the Zoom Test Kitchen. And we're off to the Zoom Test Lounge. Take care, YouTube.